Race Sports Network. We say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to night one of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals right here, coming to you from the virtual Tulsa Expo Center. So happy that you are with us on a Wednesday evening. Myself, Evan Pusoko, and Brett Wheeler on the call with you tonight. Upstairs, our producer downstairs, Hugo Louise, is bringing us to you this evening. It is Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night, the first of many over the course of the next couple of days. And Brett, we are getting started for some exciting action this evening. Just a little bit of a taste of what is going to become later on this week. More racing Friday, and of course, Thrustmaster Championship Saturday on the weekend. But it all gets kicked off here tonight, and immediately 5 heat races on deck.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be an awesome week, as you said, over the next 3 or 4 nights, I should say, but 3 nights of racing. Look, Chili Bowl, this is the best of the best right here, and we've got the best of the best on. Sitting here in the in the Sim Chili Bowl. I can't wait. I'm excited. It's the Chili Bowl, baby. Let's get after it.
And here's a look at what's going to be going on this evening. As you mentioned, 5 heat races, the top 4 drivers from each, so 20 total, going to move right on and into the qualifiers. Those drivers then will race 10 each, 12 laps. The top 6 will go into the main. At that point, we'll have 12 drivers set. Everybody else should get dumped into 2 B mains, and the top 6 from each of those make up the final 12. So 24 drivers going to race in tonight's main event, 25 laps to determine the winner of that. The big thing on the line this evening is to get into the top 6 in this evening's main event. You get a top 6 finish tonight, you go directly to Saturday's A main. Of course, that's where all of it is on the line. If you do not successfully get into those 6 positions this evening, you would about 90 or so other drivers going to be placed into a plethora of DC and B mains, and it's just going to be a lot longer of a week for you. So it is opening night. These drivers trying to get settled in. No doubt they've been on track for the better part of the last week or so getting ready for this event. But just because it's open tonight, Brent, does not mean that there is not a lot on the line.
As you said, there's a lot on the line, especially those top 6 drivers in tonight's feature that will directly transfer. As you said, if you're outside, if you don't even make the show tonight, I mean, you're looking at somewhere in a D main spot. That's a lot of racing to get through if you want to make it into Saturday night's main event.
10 laps for these heat races to get things kicked off. And another key thing I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot as this race goes on is that caution flag laps do not count against the total. So it may be more than 10 trips around this racetrack for us to actually get these 10-lap heat races in. Of course, we'll keep everybody updated on that as the night goes on.
Yeah, look, it's all about trying to get to the front as quickly as you can and doing it cleanly without trying to barge your way through. So look, a lot on the line. It all starts here. Passing points is where it's going to be at as well. So you want to be in the top 4 of this heat race when it comes to that checkered flag on the heat race.
It all starts right here and right now. Let's go trackside and take a look at your RaceSpotTV starting grid for heat race number 1. It is going to be Josh Hurley starting this one from pole position, and he will be joined on the outside of the front row. That is the 04 entry of Cody Gray. Tim Weinrich going to be inside row 2. That'll be the 3rd starting spot for the driver of the number 4 machine, and Nate Moore to his outside going to be starting this one in 4th.
Yeah, starting position number 5 in car number 11, it will be Austin O'Neill on his outside. Car number 23 of Jonathan Smith. Your final row on the inside out of position 7, car number 80 of Vinny Sansoni, and Tyson Landis in car 31 will start position number 8.
Look top to bottom at your 8-car grid for this opening heat race of the week. And of course, as we mentioned, 10 laps apiece. Top 4 drivers get the ticket into one of the 2 qualifier races. That one comes up next, all here tonight on RaceSpotTV. The pace truck is in, and we're going to get set to get a week kicked off. It's the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. Green flag in the air. Let's go racing. Battle for the lead right out of the gate as the 88er Hurley holds off Cody Gray. Battle for the race lead. No doubt going to be aggressive, but the big picture top 4, that's the goal.
Yeah, you look at Weinreich in the number 4 machine on the outside. He's been shuffled back to position 5. Moved Nate Moore in the 22 into position number 4. So top 4 is where you need to be come this end of this heat race. Right now, back up front, Cody Gray. He's all over the back of your race leader, Josh Hurley, as they make their way into turn number 3 and 4.
One of the newest car track combos to the iRacing service. It's certainly got its use in over the last couple of weeks and months, and you're seeing it put on display here. Not a lot of room to work with, very flat racetrack as you see that second place car to Cody Gray go to the inside, and finally he'll make it happen. Josh Hurley, mistake, and he'll give the race lead away to the 04.
Yeah, halfway home, 5 down, 5 to go. Cody Gray, your new race leader. Hurley back to position 2. Here comes Austin O'Neill in the number 11 machine. He's in 3rd spot. Now he's going to try and move all over the back of Josh Hurley as they make their way into turn number 1 and 2. One thing these guys are going to have to deal with as well is lap traffic. So 10 laps is not a lot. It's not a lot of track time, but they will catch the back markers very, very quickly.
This race almost over. No incidents so far. And as Cody Gray actually starts to catch up to the back of the pack, put in Jonathan Smith and down to Waderick a lap down already in this one. We turn our attention to that transfer spot as we get set to take 1 lap to go. This time by Nate Moore in. Tyson Landis on the outside. 1 lap to decide it.
Yeah, it's Gray and Hurley, O'Neill and Nate Moore. 1 to go right now for your leader. Here he is, Cody Gray into turn number 1 and 2 for the final time. Heat race number 1. He looks to have this one sewn up.
And it is all Gray up front, nice and easy with a heat race 1 win. It is Cody Gray coming home atop Josh Hurley, Austin O'Neill, and it looks like it is indeed going to be Nate Moore who ends up in that 4th position. So those drivers going to be moving on to one of the 2 qualifier races due up in just a little bit. As for Landis, Sansone, Weinrich, and Smith, a lot more work still to be done as they do not make the cut, finish in the bottom half of Heat Race 1.
Some moves in that one. Austin O'Neill picked up a couple of spots, started 5th, ended up finishing 3rd. Tyson Landis 1 spot out from that top 4. He finished 5th, so he made his way up 3 positions as well. So unfortunately, Tim Weinreich in the 4 machine went backwards in that one, but hey, Cody Gray making the most of that one. He was behind Josh Hurley for those opening 3 or 4 laps, and a mistake from Hurley, and that's something that these drivers are going to have to minimise if they're going to be wanting, to be in the top half of this field come later tonight, and also Championship Saturday night.
All you got to do is blink, give him that space, and Cody Gray absolutely used it to his advantage. You also mentioned the positions gained. That is also going to be very important, along with not only their finishing position, because it is a combination of drivers' finishing positions and their passing order in qualifying nights. So this evening and Friday, it'll determine the path that they will have to take to get to Saturday's main event if they do not secure that position this evening. So a little bit of a rough start. Somebody like it, Austin O'Neill, 5-3 gets it in, and those position gained, good for him. Tyson Landis doesn't make the cut, but 3 spots gained in P5, certainly a lot better than say Tim Weinreich, who we saw finish 7th, who lost spots. So all of that going to factor up. Of course, race control keeping tabs on all of this information going to be critical when you're talking about 90 or so drivers trying to fight to get into Saturday's main.
Yeah, it's pretty much cutthroat, and you need to be on your game from the get-go. You need to pass cars, especially in heat race. If you want to make it into that qualifier, you need to be in the top 4. If you don't, it makes your job on Thrustmaster Championship Saturday night. It just makes it just that little bit extra harder. And we're talking about we're going to have the best and the best here come Saturday night. So I mean, you really need to be on your A game pretty much from the get-go in your heat on your qualifying night.
And that's certainly the case, but heat race number 1 is in the book. So we'll step aside. When we come back, heat race 2 is coming up. But Cody Gray, first checkered flag of the week. You're watching RaceSpot's coverage of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals on the iRacing Esports Network.
two-time NASCAR legend is your 2013 NASCAR iRacing. It's going to be Humpy winning the race, and it's going to be Conti taking away his first NASCAR
2017 NASCAR Peak Free Series Championship to Ryan Luza. Fella is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Free's iRacing Series. Live from the virtual Tulsa Up Expo Center as the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals continue. Heat Race 1 down in the books. It is Wednesday night qualified, part of Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night so far. Cody Gray headed into the victory circle along Josh Hurley, Austin O'Neill, and Nate Moore, your top four. They are headed on and into the qualifiers. Still 4 heat races still to go. Evan Fasoka, Brett Wheeler upstairs with you and already set to go for heat race number 2. 10 laps getting set to get underway as we step down trackside and get a look at a RaceSpotTV starting grid. Pole position on this one to go to the number 8. That's Brandon Cretin, who will bring us to the start. Cole Cabry outside of the front row starting in second. Justin Thomas, Adam Elby, they'll make up row 2, third and fourth respectively on the grid. And it'll be Brandon Steele who rounds out your top 5.
Yeah, starting position 6, car number 6 of Colton Hardy, JD Laird. In car number 23 will start inside row number 4. On his outside in the 09, it's going to be Terry Renard. And making up this 9-car field, starting shotgun at the back of this field. In car number 22, it's Cody Welker.
Race 1 went without incident and green flag atop the bottom. Don't expect that to become a trend as we get deeper into tonight and the race week. And of course, the anticipation continues to go up. But we'll see what's in store for us. We didn't have to worry about not counting yellow flag laps against us. We'll see what heat race number 2 has to bring us with the Cretin and Cabry front row. Good battle for the race lead in the last one. Change for the race lead happened about halfway through. Not a lot of late race fireworks at the transfer spot. One extra car, though. 9 cars, 4 spots into the qualifier race. Coming up next, green flag in the air, off and away. And it is a good start for your pole sitter. Cretin gets clear of a lot of contact. All kinds of cars bouncing off each other. Somehow they'll make it into 3 and 4.
Yeah, Terry Renard sideways in turns 3 and 4, but we go back up front. Look at the 12 car, Cole Cabry. He's going to lose a couple of spots now. He's back there in position 4. Hardy, Colton Hardy in the 6 machine. He's up to position 3, trying to run down the 96 of Justin Thomas. And Brendan Crichton out in front in car number 8.
You're on board with Hardy. You see the 2 cars in front of him. First car up, Thomas, P2. Cretin still your race leader in the number 1 spot. Cole Cabry, the driver behind. You see the DC Solar entry. He started second, has slipped into P4, which right now would be the final transfer position in the number 12. He does have a pretty big gap, though. You see that big gap right there. Top 4, pull it away. Then a big gap, and then JD Laird under attack in P5 right now. And it is going to be Adam Elby getting around him pretty easily. Elby needs to separate himself from that second group if he wants to catch Cabry. Already more than halfway through heat race 2, and there is a big gap, more than a second.
Yeah, Thomas is on the inside of Crichton, your race leader, but a mistake from Thomas in 1 and 2. Move Cabry back to position 3. Colton Hardy shuffle him back to position 4. So a big moment for Justin Thomas. He was on the inside of Crichton just a couple of laps ago, but a mistake from Thomas is that, well, it's going to give a little bit of advantage right now to Crichton out in front.
We've seen Hardy take that early move out and into the number 4 spot. Battle for the race lead is still separated by now just a half a second as the white flag is in the air. Last lap around for heat race number 2. and the top four are going to play nice. No late battle, and that is the checker for heat race number 2. It is Creighton with the win, Thomas in second position, Cabry and Hardy 1, 2, 3, and 4. A couple of extra drivers going an additional time around, so scoring may not necessarily reflect the correct order, but it is Creighton as your winner, Thomas second, Cabry third, and Colton Hardy moving on. Hardy is able to jump up from below that cut line, Brett, get above, and he will move on courtesy of P4.
Yeah, it was a very interesting race as well. We've seen a little bit of contact there in turns 1 and 2. Who was it? Terry Brennan, who got the worst end of that one. He's going to come away with the 7th. But, man, I tell you what, Justin Thomas, he was fast in that one, along with Cole Cabry as well. Colton Hardy was another one of those movers as well, making his way into the top 4 spots. So, once again, that's going to net him some passing points as well.
And tough to tell if we saw your pole sitter all the way up in the front there, Creighton back off and all, but certainly it looked like if that race had an extra 10 laps, say it was the qualifier or even tonight's 25-lap main event, that he might have been able to do something with him. Got it down to about a half a second by the time the 10 laps had expired. Nonetheless, all those top 4 drivers, they've accomplished what they've needed, and that one had a little bit more flair than the first one did to it. But the 4 drivers up at the top of this one are going to be moving on the second part of tonight's race with the qualifiers due up, so 2 heats down and 3 still to come. A lot of drivers still need to know their fate.
Yeah, there's still plenty of racing to come, not only tonight, but over the next couple of nights as well. It's certainly going to be an entertaining week, to say the least. This truck and car combo, this is probably one of the tightest. Especially on the entry to 1, these drivers, if they enter in a certain way, you'll see a lot of the cars they push. And what I mean by push is you'll see the wheels turning left and the car will just keep drifting up the racetrack. Whoever can do that the least and get their car circulating nicely, I think it's going to go a long way in winning this RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals.
And we're starting to get a small idea of maybe who those big players are going to be, but a long way to go. We'll step aside again, get the track prepped. Heat Race 3 is next. You're watching the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
down, 3 to go. Still early in Wednesday night coverage of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. Heat racing continuing now from the Tulsa Expo Center. We're so happy that you're watching tonight's Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night on RaceSpotTV on the iRacing Sports Network. We have already seen 8 drivers lock into the qualifier races, due up a little bit later on this evening. Those race wins going to the likes of Cody Gray and Brandon Cretin. And we have yet to see big carnage, Brett Wheeler, but as these drivers who have been warming up over the last couple of minutes have been keeping it out of the action so far, kind of get an idea of what they are going to expect. Certainly the first 2-3 laps critical, especially that last one. We saw a lot happen in 3 and 4 on the first lap.
It was a case of drivers, just trying to fight for the same bit of real estate and, trying to make the moves as fast as they can and do it, as cleanly as possible. So, look, we get to see some real big moves. I've only seen a couple of drivers pick up a couple of spots, but who knows, as the course of the night goes on, we might just see some big moves coming from the back.
Grids for all of these heat races were selected via a random draw. Let's introduce you to how heat race number 3 is going to look as we go trackside and take a look at a RaceSpot TV starting grid. It is Justin Johnson starting from the top spot. Colton Davis to his outside, going to be rolling off at number 2 position. Chris Willard is 3rd, and to his outside, the 421, that is Britton Roxbury, to round out your top 4.
Starting position 5, car number 49 of Patrick Royalty. On his outside in car number 9, it's the Bulldog, Kevin Swindell. And starting position 7 in car number 8, Dan Guerin will start this one.
9-car Swindell is going to have to catch up if we're going to get rock and roll, and Pace Truck going to get set to head down and in. And we are going to be racing again for 10 laps. Have yet to see a caution flag on Wednesday night, Q night, to 2 heat races in the books already. Johnson's going to be in control of the field as they come into turn 4. Green flag in the air for lap 1 of 10.
Now keep an eye on Roxbury in the Valvoline 421 as well. On the outside of the 2-car, Chris Willard right now. Look at the 27. That's Colton Davis looking at the inside. Your race is for the lead in the turn number 1 and 2. Davis going to have it down the back straight away into 3 and 4. Move Justin Johnson back to position 2. Couldn't be P3 right now because here comes Britton Roxbury.
Roxbury through to the inside, and then you give Johnson a time to react. Both cars get out of shape that time at a turn 2. And what this is allowing is for Colton Davis to check out at the front of the field. What a slide by Roxbury. Tired of waiting around. He'll take second away from Johnson, and your pole sitter back to 3rd with P4 and 5 breathing down his neck.
Yeah, Johnson now, he's got some pressure from Willard in that number 2 car. Then you go back to a little bit back to Kevin Swindell. He's probably nearly a full straightaway behind, but in saying that, it's not a whole lot of a straightaway because we're only at a small racetrack here at the Chili Bowl, but it's still Colton Davis leading from Roxbury. Johnson and Willard, your top 4.
Certainly spend more time in the corners and on the straights here at the Chili Bowl Nationals. It's all Davis. Roxbury closes the gap a little bit. 1-2 separated by half a second. 2 laps to go the next time around. Still Johnson 3rd, Willard 4th, and Dan Guerin surprisingly falls back. He was all over the back of these guys not all that long ago. Got caught up in a battle with Swindell, and both drivers way shy of P4.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the last sort of 2-3 laps, Britton Roxbury, he was faster than your race leader. White flag is out. Davis into turn number 3 and 4. He looks like he will get the job done here in heat race number 3.
It is Colton Davis, courtesy of the early move, and reminiscent of what we saw in Heat Race 2, the second place runner was closing quick, but Britton Roxbury, not enough time to actually close all the way in. Got it down to about 3/10, but it'll be good enough for a transfer spot. It is Davis with a Heat Race 3 win. Roxbury comes second. Justin Johnson looked like he might have been losing control of this one early. Was able to get his feet underneath him. He finishes 3rd from pole position. The -2, though, in the positions gained or lost will not help his case out when it comes to determining the qualifying and starting position for the qualifier race later on. But it is also Chris Willard in 4th position, who is going to be headed home, and I rather should say should be moving on, whereas it is Guerin, Swindell, and Royalty. So all the drivers who started outside unable to make it above the bump line.
Yeah, Dan Guerin, he was one of these drivers that picked up 2 spots as well, but same thing, finished 1 spot out of that top 4, top 4 transfer spots. So, position 5, Dan Guerin, he would have been a little bit disappointed, but we're still yet to see some of these guys that are starting at the back, really make the most of trying to get as many points as you can. So, I think at the moment, if you're starting in the front 2 rows, you've certainly got a good chance at picking up maximum points.
An optimum night means that you're only going to have to go at it 3 races this evening. Of course, get into the top 4 in your heat race, make it into the top 6 of your qualifier. You're able to skip right over top of the B main, and you will race in that 24-car, 25-lap main event for the evening. Of course, if your night does not go quite according to plan, it'll take at least 4 races to be able to get yourself all the way on through. Heat Race 4 going to be due up next here from the Tulsa Expo Center. And we have mentioned a couple of times, it is Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night. Just a little backstory on that while we have the moment. You can help 2-year-old Ava kick cancer. She was diagnosed with neuroblastoma cancer. It's a form of cancer that is most commonly found in young children, but if it is caught early enough, it is treatable. There is a GoFundMe link in the description to the live broadcast here on the iRacing Esports Network. If you are so inclined, any bit that you would be able to help out would certainly go a long way. So great way to kind of spearhead the evening this evening with qualifying night.
Oh, we're not too far away from heat number 4. We've gone through 3 heats already. I'll tell you what, it's rolling nice and smoothly at the moment. I hope I haven't just jinxed that by saying that, but I'll tell you what, so far so good, and so far 30 laps complete without a yellow. That's a testament to all these drivers at the moment.
Still certainly early on. I know that these drivers, listen, it's a lot easier to obviously just get right into there, but regardless of where you finish in your heat race, you are still going to have to go through 1 additional race if you are going to make it into the main event. Of course, you win this, you go to the qualifier. You lose this, you go into the B main. B main consists of everybody who did not finish top 4 in their heat, and then as well the drivers who did not finish in the top 6 in their qualifier. So we've tossed that format up a couple of times. That's how it is going to work. Identical format to what you will see if you tune in right here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday night, second out of our qualifying. It is the Down Under Graphics qualifying night. Of course, all of this accumulates on Saturday evening, 9 Eastern start for the Thrustmaster Championship Saturday. A lot of money and a lot of goodies on the line, and that one, all of it, race coverage on RaceSpotTV and the iRacing Esports Network. So not that they're not feeling the pressure yet, but I don't think they're necessarily sweating at this point.
Look, it's still a long way to go. When you think about coming, and trying to put your car in the show on the Thrustmaster Championship Saturday night. So, but before you got to get there, you still got to do a lot of racing. Realistically, you got to do a lot of passing, especially in the heats. If you can get into from the heats into the qualifiers, you get into the qualifiers. You set yourself up for what could be, an A main. A good starting spot in the A main. Then you got to worry about the A main, which is 25 laps around here. These laps are just going to tick off very, very quickly. You can do 25 laps in under 5 minutes if it goes green the checker.
Well, that's certainly the case, is if it goes green the checker, and we're talking about right now, the maximum amount of cars we're going to see on track before then is pretty much the 10 per in all of these heat races and into the qualifiers. So it is definitely going to be a big difference when you talk about 24 cars on track at the same time in the main, which is why finishing a position in these early races and positions gained, starting third and winning a race, is going to be worth more when it determines where you start than starting from pole and winning in your heat race. So certainly I think that track position, not only key in this, you got to finish in the top half of the field roughly or so as we get set to go racing for heat race 4. It looks like this one is also going to have 8 drivers, so half of them go home and half of them are going to be able to move right on and into the qualifiers. But when we get that big field and those extra 15 laps or so later on, that's when you're really going to feel how small this place gets.
It can really get cramped up, especially when you throw in 20 to 24 cars on a track like this. Right now, we're seeing 7, 8, 9 so far for the heat races. When you get to those B mains and when you get to the A main, this is where it's going to be, it's going to get real cramped for style.
And we will see how they're going to line up for heat race number 4. Drivers are done about their 10-minute warm-up session. We go trackside, take a look. Your RaceSpotTV starting grid. Best spot on the grid for this one goes to the 051. That is Tyler Laughlin on the pole position, and it will be joined on the outside of the front row. That is the number 56 machine of Mike Molnar in second. Back on row number 2, third starting spot belongs to the 25 of Tyler Ducharme, and it'll be David Heileman starting in fourth.
Starting position 5 inside, row number 3, the 227 of Kyle Vincent Gilbert. On his outside, car number 41 of Chase Cabray. Starting position 7 on the inside of the 4th and final row in car number 37, Aiden Perdue. And lining up out of position number 8, car number 3 of Austin Blair.
And no, you're not seeing double. We had Cole Cabry earlier on in the heat races. Chase Cabry going racing in heat race number 4. So it'll be interesting to see if those two do end up going head-to-head with one another at some point. But no, you don't have to adjust the dial or anything. There's 2 of them competing so far this evening. As we're off and rolling, looks like everybody's going to be with the group. The starts have been very key for the control car inside of the front row. And I always find it somewhat ironic that you say, bringing the field and they are under the control of the 051 when you consider how little control these guys do have over these cars when they're in the big back. But look for a quick undercut if somebody wants to challenge for the race win in this one. 10 laps on the board, 8 drivers, 4 tickets into the qualifier as we go green on a great start from Tyler Laughlin. Not a good start for Molnar, though. Way back in traffic. He falls already to P5 and more contact now.
David Heileman around in turn number 3 and 4. And I believe the yellow flag will fly, and that is the first yellow that we're going to see here of the night so far. And it, courtesy of the KKR Sim team driver, the 49 of David Heileman.
It was a lot going on that opening lap. Of course, there was the poor start for Mike Molnar, who ended up way up on the outside. You get a better look at it here on the RaceSpotTV replay. Right there's the contact, and all these cars are bouncing off each other. Everybody's out of shape, and right there he just gets pile driven into. Not a whole lot, in honesty, that Heileman could have done in that situation. He got T-boned by a couple of other cars, then got hooked up with one another, and that is going to put him all the way to the back. P8 for your position number 4 starter in this race. Meanwhile, it is smooth sailing up front as D-Loff is going to bring us back to the green flag in this one when the pace truck does dive down and in. And again, as you mentioned it at the top of the broadcast, that we really haven't had to implement it yet, the caution flag laps do not count against our total for the 10 laps in this heat race. So we are currently paused. You see the active lap counter up at the top left-hand side of your screen. That's how you're going to be able to keep track of where we are. Pace truck going to go right back down and in. Single file restart as they rack the wall and back it away at lap 2.
Austin Blair so far one of the big movers, although I say that he's going to lose a couple of spots, and the yellow flag is thrown yet again.
He maybe didn't like the start on that one. Pace truck is going to come right back out, and I believe that is what race control is letting the drivers know at the moment, that they are trying to get everybody to line up and cooperate with the starting order in this one. So we will try it again, and you can certainly see they're a lot more tightly packed in there this time. Laughlin's off again. This one will count as we get going.
Yeah, Blair making his way through the middle. Look at Cabry up on the inside on Blair. But Blair from 8 up to position 4 right now. Moving back to position 5 as Cabry moves up into that 4th spot. So Cabry started position 6, made his way up 2 spots. But right now, your battle is going to be on for the race lead. Tyler Ducharme and Tyler Laughlin. Nose to tail into turn number 1 and 2. Ducharme looking to get by the 051 of Tyler Laughlin.
And there's not a lot of room on the inside of the racetrack. Laughlin's not really taking a wide line line holds that bottom pretty well, almost giving virtually no space for the 25 to navigate with. They both pull away and nearly a second ahead of Mike Molnar, who scored in third, at a battle for the transfer spot, maybe on behind the race lead. In the middle there, that's Chase Carey in the 41. The 37, though, of Aiden Perdue needs one more spot to get above the cut line. Here's his chance as he looks high.
Yeah, goes high right through the middle of turn number 3 and 4. Cadbury slides back in front of him. Almost little contact there from Perdue and Cadbury. 2 to go. Right now, the battle is on for the transfer spot. Oh, mistake from Perdue. Cadbury. Well, he's going to move a couple of tenths clear of the 37. Oh, mistake from Molnar. Here comes Perdue on the outside.
Molnar checks up Cadbury. 3-4 cars fight for it as Perdue goes through the middle. Oh, what a big slide as Cadbury wipes out, and a couple of cars up and over. Unofficially, it looks like it's Laughlin Ducharme, but we are going to have to wait for race control to give us the official numbers on this one, as those cars came across the finish line there, headed into the final quarter. There was a ton of contact, and I don't think Cadbury was happy about it. Took those drivers out after the finish of the race, so it should be Laughlin, Ducharme, maybe Molnar, and Perdue. We will wait to see if that is going to be the official running order, but I believe that contact from Cadbury came after the checkered. Not happy because, Brett, he was pretty much home free. He was fine. That mistake out of the Perdue camp put him and the 56 in a good position, but Molnar checked up. It slowed Cadbury down, and evidently that's what set him up for the pass that took him out of the top 4.
Wow, unbelievable. Cadbury, he was running right there, the transfer spot. And we were talking about earlier as well, we haven't seen many drivers come from the back. How about Austin Blair? At this stage, he's been scored in third spot, 8th to 3rd. So that is a good bunch of passing points, along with Aiden Perdue, 7th to 4th as well. But man, what a heat race that was. And if that, we're surely going to see some more fireworks later on the racetrack.
And I'm keeping my eyes glued to the finishing results on the official tally. Of course, we showed you the unofficial results for that one. Again, that big contact, that was after the checkered flag had to come out. So I don't believe that incident necessarily had any effect on the finishing order. Race control can always penalize you, I suppose, for causing an incident like that after the race had ended. Of course, with the lack of the caution flag laps counted against the order, we have seen a couple of times Brett drivers do an extra lap just in case. Don't slow down until they're yelling at you that the race is over. So maybe they just continue that fight all the way and down and into the corner. But as I look at the official results, still race control going over all of the video. We do not have an official top 4 for you at the moment. We should have that any moment. The other one's a lot easier. And clearly to tell you, Cody Gray, winner of Heat Race 1, Cretan Heat Race 2, and Colton Davis in 3. We were just trying to figure out what the final results are going to be for Heat Race 4, and then one more due up, and we will have our 20-car grid. Again, 4 drivers advancing from each of the 5 heat races. That gives us a 20-car field, 2 heats of 10 for the qualifiers, which will determine who automatically goes into the main event.
Yeah, still a lot on the line. Although this is only the Avers race against Cancer qualifying night. There's still a lot to play for, as we've mentioned. If you're not in that qualifier, not only does tonight get difficult, but it makes it very difficult come Thrustmaster Championship night on Saturday.
Certainly does, and just getting out word from race control that the incident with Cadbury, that he has been parked for the rest of the evening. So, of course, race control is going to have to look at that. It's not as easy as saying, well, he doesn't make the top 4, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to adjust, of course, all of the other finishing positions, because for the drivers who do not advance from the top 4 into the qualifiers, they are still racing themselves into the B main. So that's what race control is doing, checking over the video and making sure that they get this call right. But the latest word for the tower is that it is going to be a park for Cadbury, and the race control is going to have to sort this deal out before Heat Race 5 can get down trackside.
Well, Cadbury, that's parking for the night means a D main come championship on Saturday night for Thrustmaster Championship night. It's a long way for Kobe, but I tell you what, he's certainly got the ability, if he can, keep it clean. Yeah, he's certainly got the ability to pass cars, and well, you never know. On Championship night, will we see the 41 back in action? Will we see him? And if we do, we may just see him pass quite a few cars later on.
Well, I know that I made a point, I don't know if it was at the start of Heat Race 4, if it was a little bit earlier on, the fact that we had seen a couple of, clean heat races, and don't hold your breath that it's not going to stay like that, but I did also say that maybe it was a little bit early in the week for drivers to get a little bit heated with one another. Clearly, I'll have to take that one back, and it just shows you, Brett, how serious these drivers take even the heat races. First race of, if you go through the course of the weekend, what could be an upwards of nearly a dozen races for you, and the first one gets you going. That's how much these drivers obviously want to find success at a big event like this one.
Yeah, every race is a big one, as you said. It's all about trying to maximize your performance and stuff like that, and try to get as far up in your heat race as you can. Make it into those qualifiers from your qualifiers. Make it directly into the main. It just makes it Saturday night. It's still tough Saturday night. Don't get me wrong, but when you've already locked yourself into the main event on Saturday, you only have to worry about running that 55 lap main event on Thrustmaster Championship night. But if you're someone like Cabrera or someone that finishes at the back in your heat race, that's where you've really got to be thinking, wow, how am I going to get this done? What have I got to do? What have I got to change in putting the car to the front of the field?
Of course, this is just night 1 of 3 of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. We will be back with you 6 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday for a couple more hours of action for the Down Under Graphics Qualifying Night Part 2 of our Q Nights. And then you are going to want to be here Saturday, 5 Eastern. That is Thrustmaster Championship Saturday. And upwards of $1,500 in cash and Thrustmaster gear to the eventual champion, and a whole lot else going to be dished out to the drivers who finish in the top couple of spots in Saturday's main event. And we will know as many as 6 names who will be competing in that main event come the end of the night. We do still have, though, to be fair, a heat, 2 qualifiers, 2 B-mains, and then the main event of this evening until we get to that point. Race Control still checking things over from the other one, but Heat Race 5 almost getting set to rock and roll. Drivers just wrap it up, getting their warm-up in, and looks like it'll be another 9-car grid for the final heat.
Yeah, once again, no shortage of some big names in this one. Of course, I'll let you guys, we'll go through the grid in just a moment, but there's not an easy heat, no matter whether you're running on the Avers race against Cancer qualifying night, or whether you're running on the Down Under Graphics qualifying night. No heat is going to be easy. No qualifier, no matter what race you're in, it's not going to be easy. You've really got to work for it no matter what. And, come championship night, main event, whoever wins that 55 lap main event, they can proudly say that they are the first annual RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals winner, and they have worked all week for it.
Quite the title, because I know that, maybe for those who tune in with us here on the iRacing Sports Network on a fairly regular basis, or even if you're just a casual viewer, there's a lot of familiar names on track this evening. Some drivers who obviously specialize on the dirt side of things, and maybe some drivers who are maybe a little bit more well-versed overall on the iRacing service. Everybody wanted to take a crack at this one, and I mentioned how key it was for you to be able to get into the main event by surviving your heat, your qualifier, and tonight's main event of 25 laps to get into the top 6, because if you're not in the top 6, you're in a group of 90 other cars pretty much. You're going to have to worry about qualifying through either Friday or in all of the preliminary races that will come Saturday before the 55 lap main event. So there is a big difference between being a top 6 car tonight and being anybody else, because you get tossed back with the herd, and it's going to be a long week.
It's going to be a long Saturday night, that's for sure, to say the least. So, once again, everyone's going to go out there and do their best. They're not going to go out there and just intentionally wreck anyone. So, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of great racing. But if you are stuck in a D or a C main, that's a real big issue for you if you want to make it into the A main on that Thrustmaster Championship night. But it is what it is, really. We are going to have the best of the best come Championship Thrustmaster night, no doubt about it.
We certainly look forward to that one. Still looking to get Heat Race 5 kicked off. I believe one more driver awaiting to report to the track before we can start with them. So we will see if everybody's going to be able to get into this race. As you see, the drivers get a little bit of extra lap time. And listen, I don't think that they're necessarily going to complain either way. A, Brett, if one of their competitors doesn't make it to the grid, or B, if he does show up a little late and gives them a little bit of extra at track time, I think that they'll be certainly okay either way.
Yeah, well, the more time they get on the track before the race, it just gives them time to, to adjust the setup if they feel that they might need to, make a few adjustments. Of course, they've been able to run around here and do a couple of laps before we get into, heat number 5. So more practice, the better it is, when it comes to, setting your car up, especially, if you're coming from the back in these heat races, you need to have that car on point.
You certainly do, as it is qualifier night for the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. A long way still to go. We do have 16 of the 20 names that are going to be racing in our qualifier races. Those coming up next. Determine top 4 from the previous heat races. Again, still awaiting to give you the official word on what the ongoing review with the end of heat race number 4 is going to dictate. Race control, obviously looking at that incident that involved Chase Cabrey that we saw at the end, trying to figure out if that was an incident that happened during the race or post-race. Obviously, that would have a pretty big effect on any sort of penalties, and if they determine it, I'm sure if it happened during the race, then that would result in the park for the evening. But they are trying to finalize all of that information in what is, I think, going to be now, as these drivers almost sit around a little bit. You get antsy, you want to get going, and maybe this is kind of a melting pot. It'll be a crazy heat race number 5.
Let's hopefully they don't have a big meltdown. Let's hopefully we can see what we've seen in the opening first sort of 3 or 4 heats. We've only seen one, maybe 2 cautions, so far in the 4 heats. What we haven't seen, and I'm surprised, is the flip count. We'll try and keep an eye and keep a number on that throughout the week, but at the moment I believe it stands at 0 in the official rate, when it comes to heat races, not in the practices.
We'll keep an eye on this as it goes on. Still waiting to get heat race number 5 underway. So what we'll do is take another quick opportunity to step aside and come back and meet the final 8 or 9 drivers that have yet to hit the racetrack this evening. You're watching Ava's Race Against Cancer Qualifying Night. It's the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals on the iRacing Esports Network. As we prepare to crown the 2018 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion, and we're so happy that you're along for the ride with us this evening for the 18th and final race this season. We welcome you into the RaceSpotTV booth. Myself, Evan Pasoka, Randy Cheneth with you for the call tonight. Our director, Hugo Louise, is downstairs. And the iRacing Esports Network. One race to crown a champion. Let's go racing from Homestead. Green flag in the air to turn number 1. Nick Ottinger, your pole sitter, brings us up to the gears for the first time. We are going to go 3 wide for the lead at Homestead, just 9 laps in. Lewison wants to make the inside work, and Schoenberg way overdrove corner 3. He'll throw this one away. Brad Davies with a big run.
Fortunately loose, Mr. Taylor Hurst. Michael Guest just coming up the racetrack. They both go for the same bit of real estate at the same time. The 05 and Nick Ottinger, bit of an in and set up the dream situation. Michael picks up the 4th spot, and that puts championship contenders running 1, 2, 3, 4 as they come to start lap 107.
The battle for the top 4 is the battle for this 2018 championship.
Able to fight right here as they go down the front straightaway. But if you're five racing the 34, they get the wall that goes side by side in the one.
It was the slightest bit of contact, but it breathes new life to Ray Alfala. Look how hard they drive it into the corner as Alfala pushes Luza up the hill.
Back straightaway. Do either of them off the pit road? Yes, he does. Ray Alfala makes the call a few laps after Busa.
And he went right side by side with Luza into the corner. And look at how Alfala digs sideways as he tries to get all the time he can, all kinds of out of shape as Ray Alfala drives it hard to pit road.
There is $10,000 on the line, 2 laps to go, and $10,000, 2/10 of a second separating it.
One lap to determine the championship as Ryan Luza still needs a car length and a half, just one into the final time. The 6 drives it in hard. He looks for the bumper of Alfala, but he is not going to get there in time. The 6 can't stay in the gas, and Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series. back live for the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals at the iRacing Sports Network Heat Race 5, ready to rock and roll. As we welcome you back into the booth, Evan Pasoko, Brett Wheeler with you, with Hugo Luis downstairs bringing us to you, and we are getting ready to roll at this moment. Let's join the cars down trackside. Take a look at RaceSpotTV starting grid for the 5th and final heat race this evening. Trevor Fitz is going to start this one from pole position and will be accompanied by Austin Semmelman on the outside of the front row in second. It'll be Rusty Kruger in third position, Jimmy Wallace rolling off in fourth, and Zach Novak rounds out your top 5 halfway through this starting grid.
Yeah, on the outside of third row, car number 24, Eric Einarson. Starting position 7, car number 7 of Gwyn Rockefeller Jr. On his outside, starting position number 8, car number 20 of Brennan Rogers. And your final row on the inside in the 07 car, it's going to be Riley Wyans. And on his outside, starting position 10, car number 97 of Frank Ferry Jr.
And not to mix a whole lot of names up with everybody, but we do have the official results from Heat Race 4. Tyler Laughlin, Tyler Ducharme, Mike Molnar, and Aiden Perdue with the top 4 drivers. Moving on from that one to Cabri, Blair, Heilman, with Gilbert not advancing. So those were the results from the previous Heat Race that were unofficial. So now that we've taken care of all of that, we're going to get set to put the Heat Races behind us. One more stint. 10 laps, 10 cars on the track to fight for this one, as Fitz looks to get out in front. Green flag in the air. Good jump for Semmelman on the outside, but he goes way up high, and Kruger slides to P2.
Yeah, look at the 40 car. Oh, Jimmy Mollis up on the outside. But here comes Brennan Rogers from the back of the bus into position number 3. The 20 car is rolling, and it's only been 2 laps right now, and he's made his way from position 8 into position 3.
What a run for Rogers, passing half of the field in less than 2 laps, and he's immediately above the cut line. Mullis stays P4. He is now the last driver in on the bump spot, and he's got a familiar face behind him. Zach Novak would be P5 in a challenger, as now a battle's on. Here we go for third and second spot now. It is Rogers getting another one from 8th to 2nd in just 5 laps.
Kruger made a mistake in turns 1 and 2. That opened up the door for Brennan Rogers, picking up 6 positions here, halfway home, and it's Trevor Fitz out in front in the 28 machine. He's looked solid so far here in the opening couple of laps right now. As well, Brennan Rogers, he's got a long way to go to catch up to, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to get by that 28 machine. But if he can just hang on to second, Brennan Rogers certainly be the highest point scorer after heat racing action.
Certainly going to be a great one as he comes home in second, but a top 6, or plus 6 should say, for Rogers on the count right now as we wait to see it. A caution flag up on the outside, and 1 car up and over. Going to bring the pace truck out, the bright orange entry. That was Frank Ferry Jr., who is out of this race. You'll see the replay, just gets way up and on his own, and when you get into the outside wall like that, she is not coming back down. All the way up and over. Here's the onboard shot. All 4 tires going to be airborne as he goes once, twice over, and has to take the virtual tow to the pit lane. Race control says that this caution flag comes at lap number 9. So the pace car dives down. It'll be a 1-lap shootout to determine this thing. And not that Mullis had a big gap on Novak for 4th and 5th, which is, again, the key part to watch here. But this is going to be a mad dash to make the cut.
Yeah, flip count 1 lap to go. Brennan Rogers, he would have been loving that yellow flag as we get set to go back to green flag action. Trevor Fitz gets the white flag, 1 to go, and he hang on here. 2 more turns. He makes his way down the back straightaway for the final time in heat number 5.
So far, so good. Maybe a little bit of contact. 3rd and 4th. A lot of cars tangled up behind, but it is not going to make a difference. And it is Trevor Fitz atop Brendan Rogers, Rusty Kruger, and Jimmy Mullis. Those are your top 4 from heat race number 5. A little bit of late race fireworks never hurt anybody. Just on the outside looking in, you saw Novak actually got tangled up in an incident that was off for the final quarter almost after they had kind of realized that they were not going to be able to make it up and catch Mullis, who holds the fort down P4. So it is actually going to be Glenn Rockefeller Jr. taking P5. Race high for him. When the race comes to an end, Zach Novak, I believe, is going to be P6, and Semmelman in the number 7 spot. Again, all of that subject to post-race review. But certainly looks like it is going to be Fitz, Rogers, Cougar, and Bullish. Your top 4 moving on. And Brendan Rogers, really one of the first dominant charges we've seen from a car that started at the back all night.
Yeah, and one car that sort of went backwards in a heartbeat was the guy that started on the outside of the front row, the 18 of Austin Simmelman. Started second, ended up finishing 7th, so going backwards in your heat race is not an ideal way to start off your RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals.
So just to recap everything that's happened so far on night 1 of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals, Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night. All 5 of our heat races have now come to a close, and we do have 20 drivers moving on to the qualifier racers. Those are from heat race number 1, Cody Gray, Josh Hurley, Austin O'Neill, and Nate Moore. From heat race 2, Brandon Cretan, Justin Thomas, Cole Cabry, and Colton Hardy. From heat race 3, Dan Guerin alongside Brixton Roxbury, Colton Davis, and Kevin Swindell, Tyler Laughlin, Tyler Duchar, Mike Molnar, and Aiden Purdue from heat race number 4. And just recently, Trevor Fitz, Brendan Rogers, Rusty Kruger, and Jimmy Mullis. 20 drivers going to be moving on into the qualifiers. You see, that is the look at your Heat Race 4 results. We were unable to give those to you before Heat Race 5 got underway, as there was an unofficial and an official review going on. So that is the look: Laughlin, Duchar, Molnar, Purdue. So 20 drivers listed up. If we didn't say your name, we'll catch up with you a little bit later on this evening. B-main action still later on to come, but now we do know the 20 faces that are going to be fighting for a ticket into tonight's main event, and we are not yet, Brett, going to stick 20-plus cars out onto the racetrack. We'll see that later. 24 cars, main event. You're not going to want to miss that one, but we are going to split those 20 drivers up into 2 qualifier races, 10 cars apiece. We'll go at it again, and it is going to be 12 laps instead of 10 laps, and importantly here, the goal is the top 4 in your heat race. You need to be top 6 in your qualifier race. That'll get you into tonight's main event.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Where hopefully we're going to see some good racing and good passing in that one. We didn't see all that many. We didn't see too many passes, but we've still seen enough. But man, I'll tell you what, Brendan Rogers 8th up to position 2. Man, that's certainly the elbows up award so far of the night. But I'm sure we're going to see some more drivers going to want to get their elbows up and look to pass as many cars as they can as they get ready for the qualifiers. Some drivers are going to want to be doing that in the either B main 1 or B main 2 for tonight. So still plenty of laps to come. As you said, 12 laps each for both qualifiers. So you're looking at 24 laps there. You're looking at 20 laps each for the B main. So there's another 40 laps. You put that together, you got 64 laps, and then you throw in a 25 lap main event. So we're still looking at around 90 green flag laps here at the Chili Bowl.
It'll be a lot of fun still to come. We'll step aside now that the heat races are behind us. And when we come back, we are going to get things going off at rapid fire. 20 drivers, 12 spots in the main event. Your qualifiers are next. You're watching the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. It's Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night.
That final showdown, we're going to log 2 more in. 4 are going to leave here disappointed, and they're getting ready to grid to roll off for this 200 lap affair.
Vincent's field to control as they roll slowly at 49 miles an hour off the quarter to take the American Ethanol green flag. Round of 8 racing once more from Dover. Second to last race of 2018. Way sideways in the corner. The 12 machine holds it low, and it unfortunately snaps back up the hill. There it is. He just lost it. Coming down the back straightaway. Look out and somehow doesn't get smoked by Zelensky, but that 27 was not as fortunate.
They'll go side by side for that position. What is right now position number 3 on the running order, which could be a battle for the win potentially if this thing cycles out. Almost little contact off turn number 4. Conti continues to fight on the inside.
He continues to dig on the inside, and this could be the most critical battle for what will be a race win we've seen all season long. The 24 should have a better run off of the quarter on the outside, but are those tires going to be too good into the quarter for the 5 to get the gap? Off of turn 4, he will push up, and yes, sir, Michael Conti passes Leahy for what is 3rd position, and it'll be his 2nd win in 4 weeks. Michael Conti wins from Dover, 2nd on the round of 8, and he'll head to Homestead in search of a 2nd championship, arguably as the favorite.
native, Martin Kroenke, he will start himself on pole position here today. It's going to be a long race. It will be a frustrating race for a number of drivers, but it's all going to be about who can get maximum momentum at the start of this event. The lights will go on top of the iRacing gantry. We are ready to go racing here at the Nürburgring. Lights are out. We are away, and it's a good start then by Kroenke as they storm down into turn one. Look at Gregor Hutu in towards that first corner. He holds the outside line. He will take second place away from the looks of it of Marcus Jensen. So Hutu up into second place early on. Behind, we've got ourselves a little bit of beating and banging. Mitchell Young remains in fourth place for the time being, but what a start there, Johnny, by Gregor Hutu.
Yeah, Hutu rocketed off the line. There he is, riding on board with him, heading through the middle part of the lap right now. He's edging closer and closer to Kroenke here. It'll be an epic first lap if he can get past. But for Martin, perfect start. Almost had a touch from Marcus Jensen heading into the first corner, but it was all clean. The Burst Esports driver demoted to third.
Well, Jake, that's going to change a lot of his strategy now for Martin Kroenke, because it was Jensen who is running in second place. Kroenke might have thought he could stretch his legs. He can't do that anymore because I believe that Hutu is in charge mode.
Yeah, he certainly is. Also keep an eye on that start because it checked up for Jamie Fluke, and Fluke went around into his own teammate, no less. And I believe that was Antoine Higeland at the very, very beginning of this race. So really not ideal here for Apex Racing drivers on the opening.
Looking from the rear end of Martin Kroenke's Coanda Simsport car. Hutu with DRS. He has a great opportunity here, Will. I think he's a bit too far behind, but certainly to pack on some pressure.
Yeah, and again, oh, and it goes right down to the inside. Goes Gregor Hutu, and he's been able to get the inside line for turn number 2. Pass of the season there. Gregor Hutu storms himself down to the race lead. I cannot believe that. Let's have a look again on board with Gregor Hutu, because this one was something special. He came back from 4 car lengths back in towards turn number 1, launched it down to the inside. He somehow managed to make it work. He overshot the corner, and arguably, Johnny, I would say that Kroenke realized that Hutu overshot and gave him the position.
Wow. I think that Gregor Hutu didn't mean to make that move, Will. I'm going to say something very silly. I don't think he meant it. It was such a late dive down to the inside, and it was almost as if I'm hitting my braking point. Oh, wait, I'm going...
Heading down towards the Parabolica, and we're getting all set for the start of 3 hours of racing around Monza here. And certainly going to be a good race. We're waiting for the green light. The green flag doesn't drop yet. It's down the line. Now the green flag comes out. Away we go then. 3 hours underway here at Monza as they head down towards Rettifilio to start with. You're going 3-4 wide further down your field. Hopefully everyone gets themselves sorted out as they head in to turn number 1 now. This first chicane so easy to make contact around here. We've got a car spun. Car spun, and we've got more.
qualifiers as Ava's race against cancer qualifying night continues. Part of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals at the iRacing Esports Network. 5 heat races now come and gone, and the top 4 from each of them, 20 total, have moved on to the qualifiers. Half of those drivers are trackside now, where we take a look at your RaceSpotTV starting grid. The objective in the qualifiers, finish in the top 6. 12 drivers total going to be going on to the Wednesday night main from the next 2 races. As we bump the laps up to 12 total, Brendan Rogers will bring this one from pole position, and he will be joined by Britt Roxbury, the 421 machine, on the outside of the front row in second. Austin O'Neill will roll from 3rd position. It is 4th for Colton Hardy alongside Colton Davis in P5.
Starting position 16 in the 051, Tyler Laughlin. Starting inside, right number 4 in car number 40, Jimmy Mollers. Josh Hurley in the 88 will start position number 8. And your final row on the inside, car number 12 will Kyle Cabry alongside car number 56 of Mike Molnar at a position number 10.
Look at your 10-car qualifier 1 grid. 6 drivers going on to the main event from this one. And if those last couple of heat races were any indication, the difference between 10 laps and 12 laps can be pretty critical as the base truck dives down and in, and Brendan Rogers collects the green flag. Qualifier racing on Wednesday night, and Rogers is going to get clear of a 3-way fight for P2. A lot of contact with Hardy.
Yeah, look at Austin O'Neill in car number 11. Been shuffled back to position 4. Make that position 5. Oh, Colton Davis around. And there is our first yellow of the qualifiers. Colton Davis in car number 27 catches the left rear. You take a look at your RaceSpot replay. It was Colton Davis just caught the left rear of the 40 car, I believe it was.
I mean, it was like got his teammate there in the 5. That was Colton Hardy. I almost thought he slid up in front of and kind of got disposed of off of the 11 of Austin O'Neill, but he just drove it in a little bit hard there. You saw it on the replay. Got into the left rear of the car in front of him and evidently spun out, got an extra piece of contact. Looks like Tyler Laughlin is going to get a little bit of damage out of that one. So a quick yellow going to change the dynamic of this race in the fact that, of course, not only do we pause the lap counter, again, caution flag laps do not count against our running total of 12 laps in this qualifier race, but of course a single file restart going to make it a lot harder for the cars deeper in the pack to get from behind to inside of the top 6 as we look for the restart. Rogers, pole sitter off and away.
Yeah, Roxbury in second. Third is going to be Colton Hardy. Now looking to the inside on Roxbury. Into 3 and 4 we go, side by side for second. Hardy and Roxbury now moved Roxbury back to position 3. Colton Hardy into second. Roxbury trying to get back underneath. There's contact going into turn number 3, and Colton Hardy, he's going to lose 2 spots on that exchange.
An awful lot of contact for 2 drivers who are fighting for the same objective. All of those cars in that battle in the top 6. All that matters right now. So Roxbury's going to end up P2. Austin O'Neill slides into 3rd. You see him there in the 11 car. And then Colton Hardy, who slid back to 4th, leads atop Cole Cabry 5th. Tyler Laughlin is 6th position. It is the final transfer spot, but a challenge to the inside. Jimmy Mullis up and over. And a huge wreck sends the 40 car airborne.
Yeah, that's going to be his qualifier done. That's a shame now for Jimmy Mullis there. So unfortunately, flip count number 2. And it's that's not too bad so far considering we're in race number 6 of the night. It's in a lot of laps, and unfortunately, Jimmy Mullis, his qualifier is done.
He knew he had to do something. That was for the transfer spot. Tried to go to the inside of Laughlin, got into him, and what really upset him was basically going over that berm down on the inside of the racetrack, flipped him up and over, and a caution flag pauses us at lap 7 of 12. With a couple of fast competitors in both Colton Davis and Jimmy Mullis out of this race. pretty much at the halfway home point. So 8 drivers left at the racetrack, only 2 of them not going to make it. You don't want to be that guy who doesn't make it, of course. If you don't make it into the top 6 here, you get a B-main date later on tonight as we go back green. Single file restart again. Keeps things calm for at least a lap, and now we're beating and banging. The 5-car, Hardy out of control. He'll get up on 2 wheels. It looks like it's Laughlin who's down it onto the inside, and so far still green, but chaos off of the second restart, and there's the caution flag.
Yeah, Josh Hurley was phasing the wrong way. Tried to do a nice little 180 there to get the car back going the right way. Unfortunately, the leaders were coming around into turn number 3 and 4, I believe it was, and Josh Hurley going to find himself in the back. He's still going to be in 7th at the moment, so he's technically still only 1 spot out of a transfer. He can still get this done and still make it in a direct transfer into tonight's main event.
You saw Laughlin go off to the side of your screen there, the bright yellow car. Doesn't really get caught up in a lot of these. He was taken out pretty much way before the actual incident happened as he launched into the infield and pretty much right into a K-rail onto the inside. So he finds himself out of this thing, and the remaining cars are going to take a restart with the lights on top of the official pace truck go out. 2 laps to go when this does happen. It's Rogers, Roxbury, O'Neill, Cabri, Molnar, and Hardy. You're in. And then it is Josh Hurley and Tyler Laughlin on the outside. Laughlin not going to get up back on track. So it's only Josh Hurley who is fighting for his life in P7. Wants to get a top 6 ticket to the main as we go green.
Yeah, Brennan Rogers in car number 20 will lead the field into turn number 1 and 2 again. Roxbury in 2nd. Austin O'Neill in 3rd. Then you go back to Cabri. That's Cole Cabri in 4th. 5th is Mike Molnar. 6th with 1 lap to go. Here's Colton Hardy. Colton Hardy moves up the inside on Molnar. Move Hardy into position 5.
Position 5 as they all try to stay in front of Hurley. Checkered flag is out, and it is Rogers with the win in qualifier number 1. Brenton Roxbury comes home exactly where he started at P2. And it is the same for Austin O'Neill, so no changes on the podium. Cabri ends up +5 in P4. Colton Hardy rounds out your top 5, and therefore Brett Funnell, driver to advance into the main event, is Mike Molnar in P6.
Yeah, well done to those 6 drivers, certainly earning and racing their way into tonight's main event. Of course, it's only a preliminary night. Unfortunately for Josh Hurley, Tyler Laughlin, Jimmy Molas, and Colton Davis, we will see those guys in a B main later on tonight, but we've still got 1 more qualifier to come, so another 12 laps before we start getting into our 2 B mains, I should say.
They're going to join the drivers who did not finish inside of the top 4 in their heat. So there are going to be some pretty crowded B mains coming up next. But a good result for the Speed Lab Esports entry of Brian Rogers, who's going to find himself up front when we go racing later on this evening. He's got 45 minutes or so to kind of kick his feet up and hang out and watch, kind of get an eye on the competition. He knows that he will be in that 24 car in 25 lap Wednesday night main. Still to come, as we have roughly hit about the halfway point or so this evening. So the other 10 drivers going to be due up now as we get set to go racing in qualifier number 2. Track's going to get prepped, and we will go racing with that one momentarily. A lot of action, though, going to be coming up. We also mentioned, of course, you want to be with us this Friday, Saturday for the other nights of this RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. But in a couple of weeks, on Tuesday, February the 12th, the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series is back on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. You're not going to want to miss the 9 o'clock Eastern Time start for Race 1 of the 2019 campaign from, of course, the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. And we hope that you are with us for the course of the season every other Tuesday right here, RaceSpot TV in the iRacing Esports Network. And on a similar note, you can keep an eye right here on the Esports Network a little bit later on this week on Friday. Watch coverage of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series Draft. Find out which pro teams, which esports teams picked up some of the top sim racing talent. That is going to be this Friday right here on the Esports Network. But track is clear, new cars getting set to rock and roll, and it is qualifier number 2 due up, and I think that we certainly saw incidents in the heat races earlier on. I don't think anybody's ever going to deny that, but the rate of attrition very quickly goes up, and the highest rate that we had seen all night comes in that first qualifier. I think these drivers are starting to realize it's getting real.
Yeah, and they also know that if they're not in that top 6, well, then they have to go and run a 20-lap B main where anything is possible. I mean, if you lock yourself into the show here tonight, well, that's one box that has been ticked off tonight. But there's still plenty of boxes that these drivers need to tick off. Who's going to be the next 6 drivers that we lock into the main event from this qualifier? We'll find out shortly, after the 12 laps is complete. But I'll tell you what, once again, this is anybody's ball game right here.
And we're going to see the likes of your top finishers. Purdue lined up for this one. The likes of Ducharme and more. We'll get a full look at the grid when their warm-up session does draw to a close and they do get underway. So I don't think it was as much as the extra 2 laps played a big factor for that one as it was that the margin of error is smaller, but it makes it a little bit tougher. We'll explain that by probably top 3 or 4 cars at a race, Brett, have a significant speed advantage over the rest of the field. It starts to get a little bit more spread out the closer you get to the top. So when you're talking about in your heat races, top 4 drivers advance, you got a rough idea. P6, though, we're really paying a ton of mind to those battles earlier on in the heats. That's now, of course, the transfer battle in these qualifiers. And you saw it there. It came down to just one driver on the outside looking in. Drivers don't seem to really care that it's a fight for 2nd or 3rd. And the fight for 4th or 5th doesn't matter. They're fighting for every position. And then it almost seems like the transfer spot a little bit of an afterthought, because if you're in the top 6, you might think, all right, lock it in, play nice, let's all go on. But you have to keep in mind, we're not going to re-rack and restack things for the main. Your finishing position in those top 6 is going to dictate your start in that crowded main event later on tonight. So that's why, despite the fact that you might be thinking, well, these guys are both in, why are we taking each other's doors off? Very critical, every position on the racetrack.
Yeah, well, not only that, you think about one spot is essentially one row. So if you're running 2nd or 3rd, you can be starting in the main event, from either 4 or 6. If you're back there in 5th and 6th, yeah, you might be fighting for that transfer spot. But what you're doing is you're not only fighting for that transfer spot, but you're going to be fighting to be in the mid-pack of the start of the feature race later on tonight. If you are there, you've still got a lot of work to do. You've got a lot of cars to pass. You've got to worry about not only the guys in front, but you've got to worry about the guys behind you as well on such a tight and small, compact racetrack, I should say. Less mistakes is key.
And as we mentioned for that first one, it is going to be for the second one, it is critical. Not only your finishing position, but a combination of that and your positions gained, or what is known as your heat passing points. So if you won your heat race, but you started from pole, it's 0 passing points. Didn't pass anybody, didn't lose any spots, so it could be worse. But as we get set to start this one, our pole sitter is going to be, I believe, Aiden Purdue. He starts on pole for this qualifier because his heat passing points were +2. The last place starter for this one going to be Justin Johnson. His passing points -2, meaning that, well, although he did get a top 4 in his heat race, he lost 2 positions en route to that. So that's how we rack them and stack them. Let's introduce you to your qualifier 2 starting grid. As we go trackside, it is Aiden Purdue with the +2 starting on pole. He will lead Cody Gray on the outside of the front row to the green flag this evening. Nate Moore will start in 3rd position with Justin Thomas in 4th, and Tyler Ducharme rolling off P5 as we roll.
Starting position 6, Caliber to Brandon Creedon. Starting position 7, car number 10 of Chris Willard. At a position 8, car number 28 of Trevor Fitz. And Rusty Kruger on the inside of row number 5. And starting position number 10 in car number 7, it will be Justin Johnson.
A lot of work to do for the back of the pack. We will see if we got a couple of cars on the hook by the end of this one. 3 drivers did not finish in qualifier number 1. We've got 10 pretty good looking race cars. We'll see how that looks in about, 2-3 minutes from now, depending on how this race goes. Green flag in the air, we're off and away. Good challenge for third early, but it's not going to happen. And now a lot of cars come together in turn 2. They all keep it straight for the time being, but it really hurt the mid-pack.
Yeah, Justin Johnson, our third car to go upside down here tonight. He's going to be calling the virtual time track, so that's going to be his qualifier. We'll see him in a B main, but unfortunately, Justin Johnson, his qualifier done and does see the contact here.
He had a little bit of bad luck. You see, he ended up upside down. He was way behind the incident, all on his own, and just kind of tried to go around the wreck on the outside. The right rear tire smacked the outside wall and flipped him right up and over, and unfortunately that car kind of stayed on its side. It did not come back down on all fours, so effectively he takes the quick out of the pit lane. We'll have the option once that time penalty expires to be able to get back out and onto the racetrack and fight for something. However, don't expect that to happen, and pretty much his night done just like that. We're going to get right back rolling, though, with the caution flag out as we resume and take lap number 2. Green flag in the air, single file restart this time through. That'll certainly help things. Everybody clean to turn 3.
Yeah, it is Purdue out in front from Gray. Thomas in third. Crichton in the number 2 in position 4. 5 is Ducharme. You go back to Trevor Fitz in position 6. And, well, he's on the bubble right now. Oh, there's a car that was getting tight. It's the 2 car of Crichton. He's going to lose 1-2 spots. Oh, no. Crichton gets into the back of Tyler Ducharme. We stayed green. But, man, that could have been critical for Ducharme.
Ducharme lost a ton of critical points. We'll see as the scoring updates through. He is P6, so good for the moment. But as he tries to get down to the inside of Brandon Cretan, side by side, this battle for 5th on track. Neither of them want to be the last driver by the cut line, but the 25's got a lift there. 2's not giving him space, and almost over there as he hiked it up on the inside.
Yeah, this is your battle, well, for starting spots 10 and 12 in tonight's main event so far. Ducharme, if he can hang on, he will start P12 in the main event. 3 to go right now for your race leader, Aiden Purdue, Cody Gray, and Justin Thomas, Trevor Fitz, and yellow flag is out.
Caution comes out at lap 9, and it is Tyler Ducharme, who had a rough start to this race and fallen back, and it was in the final transfer position. Nearly spun that car out about a couple of laps earlier, and right there, trying to get up onto the inside of the 2. You talk about a difference between 10th or 12th on the starting grid. Well, he really wanted to be on row 5 instead of row 6. Instead, Brett, he's on neither right now as he brings out the yellow, drops out, and just like that, he will not advance to the main, and he'll have to go through a B main later on. This automatically bumps, therefore, Chris Willard up to P6. Willard was in 7th. Of course, car in front of him racks out. He's now the final transfer spot. Going to be a battle between Willard and Moore as we come to lap number 9 this time.
Set to go back to green flag racing. Aiden Purdue will once again lead the field down into turn number 1 and 2. Thomas work on the outside. Cretan in the 2 car. He may have had a black flag to send by passing on the infield, so that's going to move Nate Moore in the 220. Move him to position 5. Chris Willard into position 4 right now, so Cretan back to 6. Trevor Fitz is now that 1 car that's left on the racetrack that is not going to make it into tonight's main event from the qualifiers. 1 to go, Evan.
White flag in the air. It's going to be no challenge up front. It's all Aiden Purdue, clean middle of the pack and through, and there is not going to be a last-ditch effort, and it'll end the way that we went back to green. Purdue gets the win in qualifier number 2. Cody Gray comes home in 2nd. Justin Thomas, Chris Willard also moving on, alongside Nate Moore, and that final spot to Brandon Cretan. 6 out of 6 He is the 12th and final driver when you combine this group and the other group of 6 from the earlier qualifier to move on to the main event. Not as good luck everybody else though. Fitz, Ducharme, Kruger, Johnson. They've got a B main coming up now.
Yeah, in 20 laps, who knows what is going to happen in that B main. We're going to have a stacked B main and B main 1 and B main 2. You know, it's 20 laps. These drivers, top 6 from each of them, are going to make it into the show. You know, if you're looking at a sort of 15 to 20 car field for your B main, well, that's going to be a lot of passing for some drivers that are going to be starting in the back of this one.
Halfway through qualifying night, you see it there. The top 6 are going to move on from these B mains. Coming up next, we already have 12 names that we know are going to be competing in tonight's A main. Everybody else going to get shuffled together. And just to give you an idea, we had about 45 cars or so at the start of the night. Only 12 are locked in, so a lot of drivers. You're going to need to figure something out. Maybe the most critical part of the night is coming up next. We'll step aside, and when we come back, it is B main racing. You're watching the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals on the iRacing Sports Network.
We're back here at Autosports International 2017. From Vegas to Birmingham, we're now joined by driver for Apex Racing UK, who states has 156 road wins and 11 oval wins. Graham Carroll, good afternoon.
Yeah, hi Will, thanks for having me on.
So I hear first of all you're a little bit poorly.
Out in Vegas, the second day I was there, I sort of came down with a sort of cough, sort of flu sort of thing, but we'll get over it,
Talk about Vegas itself. I mean, for me, the one thing that stood out is how you as sim racers were really kind of treated like racers and given that kind of celebrity status quite a bit.
I think the suits we got given and everything, you know, it was just absolutely amazing. Then to get a teammate like Jose Maria and Sam Bird, and obviously everyone got their teammates as well. And like you say, we were treated really, really well, and it's not like we sort of turned up as gamers. All the pro guys really sort of looked at us as competition and not just sort of gamers. So that was it was good in that perspective, and how they sort of organised the event and with the sort of visa and how Formula E sort of worked it out. It was really good, and it was for the minute sort of me and Alex arrived on the Wednesday. I don't think we had sort of 10-15 minutes to sit down. You know, the schedule was absolutely flat out, but loved every minute of it, apart from the race, obviously. But it was awesome, and hopefully it can sort of make sort of other competitions come out of it. You know, that's the big thing.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things is going to be future of sim racing. That was really the first time that we saw I'm going to call it the LAN way of doing it, compared to what traditionally we have in iRacing with everyone racing online. Do you think it's different? What did you enjoy running in that kind of LAN setting more to iRacing? What's the pros and cons from your perspective?
Look, I've always said that iRacing is the best of the best. The only thing that drew me towards it was the money, you know, that's the only thing. But there was, like, I was speaking to Gregor when we were out there as well, and he was one of the people that really hated like the input lag. It was one of the big things for everyone, and he really struggled with that. But it was good again to see all these really, really quick guys be on exactly the same machinery as everyone else and see who's who and who can adapt it the quickest. And I've got to take my hat off to Bono. I've said that numerous times. He drove absolutely outstanding, you know. So it was there was some really, really good points, but there were some not so great points as well. But for sim racing as a whole, I think we need to stop talking about the bad points about it and just talk about the positives, because we're all trying to make this sim grow, make sort of sim racing grow, and that's what we're all trying to do together, you know. So that's the big picture here.
Well, let's move on and talk a little bit about your iRacing career. And of course, the key thing that we're going to start talking about is
you participating again in the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. So for yourself, I mean, talking to Alex Simpson earlier on, and you are going to probably have the biggest team on the grid in 2017.
We've definitely got a few quick guys coming up through the Pro Series. They're doing really, really well. We've definitely got a strong team behind us. Again, myself, Alex, and Anton and Pete, and so many to name, to be fair. But it's going to be a good year, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck back in about it. And I think now that we've sort of met all these guys in Vegas and seen what they're all about, you know, it's time that Apex won a race and got a pole and all this kind of stuff. And I know I said it going into last year's one. I knew it was my first WCS, but we're not here to finish second, you know. We're here to win, and we want to be finishing right up the top this series. And I'll do the first few rounds, and if it's the Gregor and Martin show again, I think I'll be packing it in quickly.
Well, we're down to 12 rounds this season, so compared to the 16 that we usually use in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And I've just been given a promo by Motorsport Auctions, a global selling platform. Yeah, moving on. So 12 rounds. So the sense of urgency is a lot higher compared to previously, because it means that all of a sudden you can't mess up.
That's it, you know. I went into it as well. First round last year, I can't even remember, one of the Iberica guys just completely wiped me out first round. Excuse me. Second round, Phillip Island, I put my hand up, I had half a lap short of fuel, and then Sebring, one of the Radicals guys, wiped me out. So, and then I went on a sort of bouncy 10, numerous top 10 results that would have really, if you took the first 3 rounds out of the equation and just gave me an average top 10, I would have been ahead of Picala at one point, you know. So it's all ifs and buts, but when you look at it like that, that's what I want to make sure. I've had my bad year to start with, and now I need to know finishing, and just points are the main thing, you know. You've got to learn off these guys that have done it for 5 years straight, and it's time to do well, you know.
You talk about pole positions, of course. Radicals got themselves their first pole position last year in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. NX Racing scored themselves their first win with Yeni Tamala in the World Championship Series. And one of the things that we saw with the McLaren is that in many ways it proved to be a leveler. So we heard all the stories with the Williams that, the established teams have the advantage because they've been doing it for so long. The McLaren kind of wiped some of that out a little bit. So do you think that you can get a pole position at the very least this season?
Yep, I do believe it now. It's time. Got some new equipment, hopefully that'll help. And no, it's just the time, you know. We're not here to, like I say, I'm going to do the first sort of, say the first 3 or 4 rounds and see how we get on, but I'm not here to be going about in 10th place or even 3rd or 4th place, but 40 seconds off the lead. You know, that's just wasted time kind of thing. So we're here to win and do well, and I think we've got the resources and the team this year to really do it, you know.
That is a bold mission statement. Now we're going to hold you to that. Race victories, pole positions at the very minimum, then for Apex and for Graham Carroll. You talk about your setup, actually. Talk us through the setup that you use for iRacing.
That I use at home?
Yeah.
Well, I sort of got a little sponsorship for the HE pedals for going out to Vegas, so I've got myself a set of them coming shortly, and I recently just bought a Leo Bodner steering system. So I'd like to think, you know, the steering wheel and the pedals is probably the best you're going to get at the minute, and there's nothing else apart from the loose nut behind the wheel that's going to make it go quicker, you know. So that's I'm not that I've blamed any equipment in the past, but just this is the year that we need to do well, and you know, if there's a peak in my sim racing career where I've been doing well, I think sort of this Vegas thing has really given me confidence and really pushing me forward to do well, you know.
Well, let's talk a little bit more away from the World Championship Series. First of all, what else are you going to be doing on iRacing in 2017?
There's a chance I maybe do Blancpain. A team of guys that are in there at the minute that I've spoke to Alex about maybe jumping in, but we'll see, because I would never like to upset a team that's working well and going to qualify. But we'll take it as it comes. Not a big deal if we don't. Again, to be fair, it's just helping out Alex with stuff in the academy. I quite enjoy seeing drivers come through that and picking up speed and getting better and better. To be fair, any other competition that comes out there with cash, it's time to just attack it and treat it like Vegas. You know, like that was one of the things with Vegas. I treated it like a job. You know, I was on it 6 hours a day, and that's why I won the first round. You know, I was ready to go, and and it really paid off. I know I never done well in the race, but I still walked away with $20,000. So any competition that there is this year with cash prizes and a decent cash prize, I'll be all over it.
All in for the money. Real racing as well, very quickly.
I will see. I developed a new Formula Ford car last year.
Yep.
I'm not too sure if we're going to do it again, possibly, but probably just the odd selected Formula Ford events, the big races here and there. And again, I'm making more money at sim racing than I am in real racing, so it's hard to go real racing at the minute.
And well, that's one of the things really. I want to, before we finish up, talk about what you learn on iRacing to take into the real racetrack, but also what you learn on the racetrack that you can bring back to iRacing. I mean, how much of a link is there?
Excuse me. Put it this way, I stopped real racing in 2008 when I ran out of money. I won the British Championship, and I went away from it for quite a while. And I went back 2 years ago, 2015. I won one of the biggest Formula Ford races in history. 150 entries, some of the best drivers in the world on Formula Ford, and I'd never have won that Formula Ford race without iRacing. And when you're battling with people and you're off, when you take off at the start or you're 1-to-1 and you're battling with guys, it is exactly the same parts of your brain you're using that you would do in real life, you know. So it just keeps you ultra sharp. When you change the setup in the car, it's the feeling you're getting. It's exactly the same you're getting in real life, you know. So it's so similar, you know. It's don't get me wrong. There's slight things, tire models and bits and bobs that you have to deal with, but the core of it is just exactly the same. And iRacing do such a good job to replicate it. It's just such a key tool to me, to be fair.
Well, what I've learned from this interview is pretty simple. If there's money involved, if there's competition involved, you will see Graham Carroll going up there for championships, for prizes. Before we let you go, Graham, we'll leave the floor to you. Anyone want to give a shout out to?
Well, just thanks for iRacing to coming over. It's been good to see everyone. And again, Alex at Apex Racing, just again for probably would never have been to Vegas and all these things without Alex. So and all my family back home and the girlfriend and yourself, Will. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you very much. And thank you for stopping by here on iRacing Radio, powered by RaceSpot. You can come and see us at stand 6510 all weekend long. iRacing Radio, powered by RaceSpot. We're live from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Tweet us, use the hashtag iRacing Radio. We'll be back with more a little bit later on.
action set to go as Ava's race against cancer qualifying night continues. Part of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals here on RaceSpot TV and the iRace Sports Network's 5 heats and 2 qualifiers have come and gone. We already know half of the field that'll be battling for tonight's A main, but everybody else gets dumped in the pool here for the first of 2 20-lap B mains. Action coming up right now as we welcome you back into the booth. Evan Pasoko, Brett Wheeler with you, and Brett, certainly going to be the craziest race of the night. 6 spots up for grabs. The longest and the largest race we've seen so far tonight.
Yeah, and it's about time for these guys, to really step up their game if they want to make it any farther than what could be a B or C main on Championship Saturday night. It all starts here. You must get into the show tonight to put yourself in somewhat of a decent spot in making it into the Thrustmaster Championship night.
Hill begins to roll pole position for this one to Josh Hurley. He's joined by Tyler Ducharme on the front row. It is Rusty Kruger and Jimmy Mullis back on row 2. Austin Blair and Tyson Landis on row number 3. And then it is Cody Welker and Dan Guerin, P7 and 8.
Yeah, position 9, Patrick Royalty alongside Tim Weinreich, Austin Simmelman and Zach Novak in row 6. Row 7, Terry Brennan, Eric Eilerson and Josh Sun in car number 4 will start position 15.
We talked about making tonight a lot easier if you can get the job done right here and right now. Top 6 go to the A-main for Wednesday night. Green flag and already problems. It's Austin Blair backs into the field and it is a mess in turn 1.
Well, that's not what Austin Blair would have hoped for going into turn 1 and 2 on lap number 1 of this 20-lap B main. He gets tagged from behind. He gets tagged every which way possible. Unfortunately for the driver of the 3 who had a somewhat of a decent heat race. He went from, I think it was 8th up to 5th in his heat race, or even 5th to 3rd or something like that. He had a good heat race. Unfortunately, this B main not starting out the way he'd like to.
He had a very good position, having, as you mentioned, gone 8th to 3rd, and unfortunately for Blair, his +5 position game, which therefore gave him the best starting spot on the grid aside from your winners from earlier on this evening. Unfortunately for him, an early incident looks like it's going to take him out of this. But if you win this, you're the top 6. You're going on to the A-main for Wednesday night. If you don't, your night's done. We'll see you Saturday again. Top 6 go to the A-main. 7th position through 13th go to Saturday's C-main. And if you finish 14th on the back, you're headed to the D-main on Saturday as we go green again. And once again, those single file restarts give us a little bit of breathing room as we get on to lap 3 of 20.
Yeah, Landis on the outside in the 31, going to lose a spot to Cody Welker in car number 22. So move Welker into position 5. Now looking up the inside on Jimmy Mullis in car number 40. Looks to put the slide job in turn number 1 and 2. Cannot do it. Mullis back around the outside. But your top 3 nose to tail in turns 3 and 4. And you just see in the center of the turns, the car gets tight. And you see the front end bouncing as the yellow flag comes out. And Tim Weinreich in car number 10 making it flip count, I think, number 4 for the night.
It was a big hit for him at least, and I'm curious how many times he went up and over there. Is it on board with him? Couple of spins as he goes down and into the corner. This will be a better look here on the RaceSpot TV replay. There's contact right there. He gets shunted by Blair. The front end of that race car goes up. He mounts the outside wall. You'll see the contact right there. Pops up, climbs the fence, and he goes for quite a ride. Took a second hit from who looks like it was Zach Novak, and that is 2 big incidents at the start of the B-main. Yeah,
well, last chance to get into tonight's main event. Otherwise, like we said previously multiple times already throughout the course of this coverage, if you're not in tonight's A-main, well, it's a tough Thrustmaster Saturday night on Championship night. Lights are out on the pace truck. Pace truck is in. Josh Hurley going to lead us back to green flag, Evan.
We'll see how the single file helps us out this time. Certainly gives you more space at the front of the pack, but when you're 15 cars deep, you can only help so much. As the challenge for the race lead going to come from Rusty L. Kruger to the inside. Physical pushes Josh Hurley out of the way, and your pole sitter's going to fall to P4.
Yeah, that was a big move there by Kruger. Unfortunately for Hurley, he loses three spots with that contact. Now, he might even lose 4 because Cody Welk in the 22 looking to the inside. Contact again with your 4th and 5th place car. Hurley back to position 5. Landers sneaking up the inside and move Hurley back to position number 6. And there's some contact in 1 and 2 again.
Oh, and a spinner now behind. Caution flag is out. It is Patrick Royalty. And I'll tell you what, it was Josh Hurley who was getting absolutely bullied time after time. That's Royalty on the inside at the very start of that clip. He had gone to the inside of the racetrack, actually trying to move the 88 out of the way. Right here, contact. The 88 got hit about 4 times, so Royalty's thinking, oh, 5th time won't hurt. He goes to move it out of the way, and again, he ends up on the inside of that berm on the inside of the racetrack, and it does not end well for Patrick Royalty, who will fall a lap down. 3rd car involved in an incident, 3rd caution in this B main as we hold that lap number 9 of 20. But now this is very bad for Josh Hurley, who just got moved out of the way on multiple occasions. Your pole sitter now at a race low P6. He is on the cut line, and he is going to have Austin and Blair all over him for a restart with half of the race still to go.
Yeah, look at some of the big movers and shakers in this one. Terry Brennan from 13th into position 8, so he's making some moves in that 09 machine. Simmelman's picked up, Austin Simmelman picked up a couple of spots. Eric Guinness in the 24, he's moved to position 11. But if we can see some of these drivers make their way through the field, guys like Terry Brennan, it certainly could shake things up towards your top 6.
Restart again as they all dive low. Top 6 the goal, but of course a win gives you better starting position as you head off and into the A main. Contact, Blair, and a big jack up now for 7, 8, 9. They're all slowing themselves down, and it is going to give a little bit of a buffer to Hurley P6.
Well, think about it. Blair, who started 5th, was involved. He was that first caution on the opening lap. He's now made his way back to position 7, so Blair's had to make his way back through the field, and he's got a chance to relegate Hurley out of a transfer spot. He's still got quite a few laps to do. Looking about 7 or 8 laps to go. So, I mean, anything is on. The battle is going to be on for the transfer between Hurley and Blair.
And you got to wonder, Hurley's been bounced around and knocked up so many times. How good is that race car? More contact now in a spinner. It's Blair again. 2nd time tonight. Austin Blair goes around that one as he tried to go to the inside of the 88 machine. And I don't know if there was a little bit of hesitation on the 88's part. It just looks like right there, Blair pushed up a little bit too much, got into him. But that was going to be real interesting because there was a big mistake from Tyson Landis. Look at the 31. Over-rotates up onto the berm. They were going to be 3 wide for the transfer spot. Instead, Blair goes around for a 2nd time tonight, and maybe the first bit of good luck for the Hurley camp.
Yeah, and Austin Blair, he's done. He wasn't happy with that contact with Hurley. Unfortunately, to me, it just looked like a racing deal. Blair obviously didn't see it the same way, but nonetheless, we are going to go back to green flag very, very shortly. In fact, it's going to be Rusty Kruger, and we're looking at about 6 to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's Blair going on to the inside. Blair initiates the contact, so I guess we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Sail the dust in front of his eyes. He couldn't see what happened, but Blair not happy. Goes after Hurley. Blair's going to be parked, and that's a one-way ticket to the paddock, so his night is done. Green flag back in the air. Next time by, going to be 5 laps to go in B main number 1. Still Kruger out in front. He leads Ducharme, Mullis, Welker, Hurley, and Landis. Those are your top 6. But P6 continues to be a tight battle for the final transfer spot. Is even Ducharme thinking about going to the inside for the race lead?
Yeah, Simmelman in 7. He's 1 spot out. He's now moving to the outside on Tyson Landis into 3 and 4. Landis down low. Simmelman from the top back through to the middle. Down the front straight away. Yellow flag is out. We'll see who we give that spot to there as the yellow poke its head out again.
Let's see if you can find that one. It's a lot of cars already parked down and onto the infield, thinking it might be, and it is there, the 12th place machine of Josh Sun, who goes into the corner, and you watch this battle as everything appears to be fought right now. The 4 over rotates, and oh, there's a flip up and into the fence. That berm on the inside of the racetrack. Most tracks, you think of a bigger dirt track like an Eldora, Brett, you can get right down to the inside wall. There isn't one here. So you got that berm that sets the track limit, and we've seen a couple of drivers get up and on it to get him out of shape. I don't think we've seen anybody launch off it quite like that, but not the way to go, as Josh Sun wanted a little bit too much, and his night also comes to an end. Caution going to go off. Lap number 17 of 20. Rusty Kruger going through the motions. Now maybe one final restart, 4 to go.
Yeah, we'll try and keep an eye on the battle for that 6th and final transfer spot. Austin Simmelman, he's going to hang on to that for the time being, back up towards 2nd and 3rd. Right now it is Tyler Ducharme in 2nd. Notice these drivers, the drivers at the start of the race were running the bottom side. Now they're starting to move the top side. Ducharme down low into 3 and 4. White flag is out, Evan, bring it home.
Not a challenge for the race win, but it is going to be a challenge for the final transfer spot, as it is Hurley. Just got passed up by Semmelman. One last ditch effort. Landis cannot get there. And the 88, Josh Hurley, hangs on. 31 gives him a bump for good measure at the end. Good fight for those guys at the back. Kept it clean. And up front, where it was a lot more calm, Kruger ended up stretching out to 0.7 of a second atop of Tyler Ducharme to take home the B-Main win. But again, your top 6, which includes Mullis, Welker, Semmelman, and Hurley. Moving on, they're the next 6 drivers into this Wednesday night A-Main. 7th position through 13th will head into Saturday's C-Main event, and 14th on back. So only Novak and Wanderich, neither of those drivers get to the end of this one. Those 2 drivers will head into Saturday's B-Main. Big difference between possibly getting into today's main and having a chance to fight for that ticket straight on to Saturday's main event. Now you're talking about D-Mains, C-Mains, and a lot more for the drivers who don't make the top 6.
Yep, their Chili Bowl, the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals has been, well, it's been a crucial blow for some of these drivers. Tell you what, hats off to Austin Simmelman. Looks to be one of the, in fact, is the hard charger in tonight's B-Main from 11th up to 5th. Going to lock himself, but however, he's going to start position 21 in this main event tonight. That is still a long way back if he wants to lock into Championship Night A-Main.
Certainly could be better. We talked about the importance of drivers getting to good finishing positions and, of course, gaining positions. That's how basically all of the starting grids have been determined this evening for the qualifier races and for the B-Mains, based on finishing position and your plus-minus on your previous race. But now we have what was the 12 drivers already, and 18 total names are into tonight's A-Main. We've got to fill up that grid and find 6 more, and we will get those names courtesy of B-Main number 2 coming up next. No surprise, as this one will also be 20 laps, just like you just saw, Brett. The fact that we had the most cars on track we had seen all night, most laps on track all night, and maybe the most fireworks as well. So we'd certainly expect that trend to continue as we head off into B-Main number 2.
Yeah, well, as you said, it's the last chance to get into the main event for tonight here on the prelim night. But, you know, we're seeing a flip count of 5 at the moment. Will that number jump up again? Because, you know, when you put 14, 15 drivers in such a tight racetrack in these cars. Now, these cars, they are very hard to handle, especially when they're not, you know, under full power right now, because these guys will be using a lot of brake. They'll be off the throttle, you know, quite a bit in those turns. It just makes it, you know, just a little bit more tricky when it comes to, you know, trying to set these cars up and, you know, trying to enter into the turn.
And another thing that you have to keep in mind as we work deeper into this one is we're only looking at a fraction of the total field in this RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. If you're looking forward to more action, you don't want to sit around until Saturday, Friday night. More Q action. It is the Down Under Graphics qualifying night. Going to get underway a little bit earlier than we did this evening. That one is a 6 p.m. Eastern Time start this Friday. Right here, the RaceSpot Sports Network. Basically, the other half of the group We'll go qualifying, and then everybody going to culminate Saturday, 5 Eastern. That is Thrustmaster Championship Saturday, where, of course, there's a lot of cash and prizes on the line. So you've been sitting around for some of these drivers that have been sitting around for the better part of a half hour, 45 minutes. Brent, you bet that they've been sitting around watching that first one. There's a couple guys that got pushed around. No one wants to get pushed around. Elbows up, I would expect, right from the start here.
Yeah, well, if you're one of those drivers that get pushed around, you might as well just say, hey, give me let me just start at the back. I'll let everyone, try and potentially take each other out, and that way you can just slide up into those transfer spots. But, you know what? Dirt, these drivers, that no one wants to be pushed around, as I just said. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of give and take, especially here, especially when you put 20 on the board, you got, say, 15 cars in this B main, and you're only taking 6 through. It's basically, push comes to shove, we'll find out who's going to get those 6 spots.
And we've been mentioning that tonight is Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night. And while we sit in between races, good as opportunity for you as any to click on the GoFundMe link in the description of the live broadcast here on the iRacing Esports Network. And you too can help 2-year-old Ava kick cancer. She was recently diagnosed with neuroblastoma cancer. It's a form of cancer that's most commonly found in young children. And if it is caught early enough, it is treatable. So that GoFundMe link is in the description. If you're able, everything helps. I believe they're just past halfway to their goal. So every little bit happens, and a great cause to be supporting here Wednesday night for the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. We are in the session, getting ready to rock and roll. It is B main number 2 now, just moments away.
Yeah, looking at for 15 drivers once again for B main number 2, and well, the drivers are practicing on track, getting their last minute adjustments, and from what we've seen so far, the track is starting just to slicken up just a little bit more right now while we are waiting for the grid to get set. Drivers get just a few more minutes of practice on this racetrack, and well, it's about time, Evan.
It is. Checkered flag comes out. A little bit of contact after. Drivers trying to get all of that out as they get set to go race. And it is going to be a 15-car deep count. And it is also going to be, as we look at the total numbers, 14. So, we talk about the margin to be in 6 cars, no doubt. But you know what you don't want to be, Brett, is the 14th place car, the only guy who goes into the D main, because 7 through 13 go to the C main. So it would really suck to finish last, let alone not being good to coming home into the top 6. Let's introduce you to him as we go trackside and take a look at a RaceSpotTV starting grid. Brandon Creed will start this one from pole position. He will start with the 051 of Tyler Laughlin to his outside, and rolling from the number 2 spot back on row number 2, Justin Johnson will start 3rd. Colton Davis finds himself at a number 4 position. Chase Cabry can roll from P5, and Vinny Sansone rounds out your top 6. That's outside on row 3.
Yeah, starting position 7 inside row number 4, Glenn Rockefeller Jr. Adam Elby in the 74 will start position 8. JD Laird out of position 9. David Hartleman out of position 10. Riley Wyans in 11th. Frank Ferry Jr. 12th. 13th going to be Jonathan Smith and Brandon Steele. The 14th car on the grid, Evan. 20 laps on the board, 6 go through.
Final 6 drivers to be racing tonight. Everybody else goes home, and they'll have a long Saturday evening ahead of them if they can't pull it out of the bag now. All eyes on the pole center. It is Brandon Cretin. Green flag in B main number 2, but he blows the corner. Way overshooting it is Cretin. New race leader is going to be Tyler Laughlin, and a spinner mid-pack, early yellow. But what a save. I think it was Johnson who triggered the yellow.
Yeah, Justin Johnson, we take a look now on the replay. They were 3 wide going into turn 3. And there was just a little contact. Left rear met right front. 9 out of 10 times, the left rear will always win. Johnson does a nice little 360. Kept it going as well. Caught on the infield, come back on the track. But by then, the yellow had already been thrown. And, well, we almost could have stayed green, but officials calling that yellow.
It's an impressive save for the 7 of Johnson. We've seen some drivers get up and onto that berm on the inside of the racetrack and end up upside down. He's able to do the full 360, keep on going. They're comes back up into traffic, causes a couple of other pieces of contact. So I think the right call to bring the caution flag out, and it'll kind of stop the bleeding for Johnson, who ends up P7. And you wonder, without these cars wrecking out of the race or ended up on a hook, they stay in it, sure, but I mean, how many hits like that can they take before they really start to feel it? Pretty easy to jack one of these cars up. He finds himself now, Johnson that is, 7th and just outside of the top 6, which is the objective as we go up high and single file things out. Pace truck going to go down and in. Restart this time in control of Tyler Laughlin. We saw Creighton throw it away when he led. Let's see what the 051 can do as we go back green.
Yeah, immediately here goes Justin Johnson back to position number 8. Adam Elby in the 74 moves his way into 7th right now. Battle on for 3rd and 4th. We take a look at the 6 of Brandon Creighton battling with Chase Cabre in the 41. Cabre looks down low in turn 3 and 4. Just a lane high is the 6 car. They go side by side into 3, into 1 and 2. And there's contact between Creighton and Cabre. Cabre picks up the front end. Elby, he's also going to pick up the front end as well.
In the 6 and a 41, it came together and didn't really want to settle that one peacefully. Let's see if no caution flag is going to come back out. It'll have to wait. And a couple of cars slow towards the back half of the field. It looks like that incident is going to be for J.D. Laird in the number 13 machine, possibly. It's a lot of contact, certainly, though. Looks like Laird was the one who ended up getting slowed up. He just got into the back of a slower car in front of him, was closing in on Justin Johnson, checked up and got hit from behind and came to a stop up top, was able to get on the brakes hard. Didn't end up into the catch fence, so it could have been a lot worse, but it is going to put a real damper on his efforts as Laird was only 2-3 spots out of a transfer position. Instead now falls all the way down to scoring to pile on it, and he'll take the next restart in 14th place, still early in B main number 2 under caution. As you see top left-hand side of your screen, the caution laps do not count towards the total, so we hold at lap 5 of 20.
With 15 to go, it's impressive. We've still got all 14 cars circulating on the racetrack. Tyler Laughlin in the 051 getting set to go back to green flag. Here in B main number 2, single file restarts once again. Into 1 and 2 we go.
And so far, so good up front. It always tends to be maybe the middle of the pack that things get a little bit more dicey. Vinny Sansone right now, the last driver in. He's got the 74 of Elby all over him, and there's problems in front. The 27, Colton Davis comes up. He collects Elby. Chaos down at the far end of the racetrack. Nobody wants to get out of the throttle, and somehow, through all of that, Brandon Creighton is going to end up in P6.
Oh my God, that just happened right now. David Heilemann, he now moves into position 5. He got through about 4 cars just then. Brandon Creighton in that 7 spot. Colton Davis in the 27 holds on to the 6th and final transfer spot. Yellow flag is out for Jonathan Smith in car number 23.
Wrong way around for the 23, and I think this may be one of the rare incidents on the night where there was no contact. No, there was. Gone down onto the inside, and J.D. Laird. The replay will show the 13 was way up high, and Smith tried to make the inside work, and Laird cut down. He was trying to, I think, find a way around that 74 of Adam Elby in front of him, and kind of chops off the nose of Jonathan Smith. A very slow spin, and actually got hung up on the berm there on the inside of the racetrack for a moment, got turned back around, and I think that is going to cost Jonathan Smith his lap, which is all but the final couple of nails in the coffin for his effort. If he is unable to get back to the lead lap, we'll see if this wave around is going to catch him back up. But through all of these incidents, quite the opposite. The earlier B main, a lot of cars out, upside down. Everybody still that started this race, all 14 cars still on the racetrack at halfway.
Yeah, about a couple of yellows, and well, no one's gone upside down. So, you know, these drivers, you know what, they're giving, they're giving and taking, as much as they can. But, we've seen just before that last yellow come out, there was about 3, 4, even 5 cars that were sort of beating and banging off each other, rubbing wheels, and, well, they all managed to keep it going, knowing no one wanted to get out of the gas.
And that's the pressure of being in a B main, is you almost keep your foot in the gas, and Just hope it works out as the green flag flies. 10 laps down and 10 laps to go in the second and final B-main for Wednesday night qualifying. Laughlin, Chase Cabry going to put on a great battle for the race win. And the inside he goes for the 41. He's got it. Cabry, new race leader on the inside of Teloff, who tries to fight back but can't do it.
Yeah, Cabray slides up, takes the top line away, drives back down through the middle of the racetrack, going into turn number 3 and 4. Laughlin still trying to work that inside line. We still see Cabray run on the top side. We go back to battle for 4th and 5th right now. Heilemann gets on by Vinny Sansone. Here comes the 27 of Colton Davis on the outside as well. There's your top 6. Oh! Davis got into the back of Sansone, and Brandon Creedon, he's got a chance at making it into the show once again.
Davis now finds himself P6. Here comes Creedon to the inside of the racetrack. That fight for 6th and 7th is the fight for the final transfer position, and that's why the 27 of Davis wants to get Sansone so badly. He wants a buffer hard to the inside. Vinny's not giving him space. It checks the 27 up, a caution.
And just trying to go back and have a look. It might have been Frank Ferry Jr. along with maybe Jonathan Smith. The reason for the yellow flag coming out here. In fact, one car hard into the wall there. Riley Wyans. He's going to be the first car in B-main number 2 to go upside down. Just caught the backstretch wall and well caught the pit opening. Kind of like the old Tyler Thomas wall. Tyler Thomas hit that wall at the Chili Bowl once.
You pretty much fell off the racetrack there. If your Wylands there got stuck on the fence, couldn't get off of it, and as that racetrack falls away to get out of the racetrack, it basically fell off of the bank on the backside, and you got hooked up there upside down, and Wyans is going to end up being the first car to DNF. Adam Elby also drops out of this one. JD Laird also trapped a lap down. 11 cars left to fight on what is going to be a 3-lap to go restart. Cabry leads Laughlin, Rockefeller, Heilemann, Sansone, and Davis, your top 6. 2 laps to go now, the next time by.
Yeah, Davis trying to work up the inside on Sansone as we go into 3 and 4. It is Sansone hanging on to 5th spot on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Cabray, he is starting to pull away from your second place car, Tyler Laughlin. We see a lot of the drivers working the top of the racetrack. 2 to go this time by Evan.
2 laps to go. Everything calm up front so far. Colton Davis keeps a gap. Oh, big contact! 2 drivers. It's Rockefeller up and over. Contact in a battle for 3rd and 4th place. And it is Rockefeller who gets the short end of the straw. A big push by David Heilemann. You'll see it on the replay right there. Comes up, cuts the 24 off, and up and over goes Rockefeller. And instead of a ticket to the A-main, he'll find himself most likely C-main bound Saturday night as he wrecks out.
Yeah, huge contact there with Heilemann and Rockefeller. Heilemann caught that infield burn. The car picked up the front end, so of course no way to keep that car down. He kept the foot in the bucket and the car just slid up, and unfortunately for Rockefeller, contact ended up upside down, so now move our flip count to 7 right now.
And the number continues to grow as we prepare for a 1-lap shootout to determine how this race is going to go. And the drivers take to the green flag. It's Cabry first, but I believe we will hold and wait for the running order to get sorted out one additional time. We'll add a lap to it as we get set for a 1-lap shootout. Race control didn't like that one, so we'll re-rack him and try it again.
Yeah, well, 1 lap once again to determine this one. Chase Cabry, your leader so far. We'll see if he can hang on and transfer into the main event. He's come from 5th spot. How about David Heilemann from 10th up to position 3 as well? So he's made some moves in this B-main number 2.
All of a sudden, transfer position now belongs to Brandon Green. He is on the inside in P6, and it is Justin Johnson, first car out in P7. Lights are out on top of the iRacing official pace truck. We will see if this one final lap going to change who will race for the Wednesday night championship. And of course, those 6 tickets directly into Saturday night's main event. It is Cabri Control. He's been the best car in this second to be made. Probably deserves to be the one to walk away with the win. You never know what kind of challenge will be mounted by Tyler Laughlin and company. And we will see what happens here. One lap to go for the Chili Bowl B main number 2. Cabri clear of the chaos. Challenge for second as Heileman wants to get to the inside of Laughlin, but all eyes back to P6. They'll wreck behind, and that may be it. Cretan, P6, I believe, is going to hang on and grab the final transfer spot alongside Davis, Sansone, Heileman, Laughlin, and Cabri.
Well, there is our final 6 drivers that will make it into tonight's main event. 7th on back, Smith, Steele, Rockefeller, Johnson, Ferry Jr., Laird, Wyans, and Elby. That's going to be a tough night come Thrustmaster Championship night on Saturday. But we do have, Evan, now 24 starters for the preliminary main for tonight.
24 total. That includes 2 groups of 6 earlier from the qualifier races. And now just recently from our B-mains, 2 groups of 6, 24 total. The rest of the drivers: Jonathan Smith, Brandon Steele, Glenn Rockefeller Jr., Justin Johnson, Frank Ferry Jr., J.D. Laird, and Riley Wyans. You are heading to Saturday's C-main. They still have a chance to get to the main event on Saturday. And then the lone driver in this one who finishes way out of it, Adam Elby, unfortunately is the lone driver from B-main number 2 that has to go to the D-main on Saturday. Again, up next is the Wednesday night main. Wednesday night main is just so we can send 6 more cars through to the Saturday main. That's the one that pays all the money. However, you're certainly making your life a lot easier if you are going to be on the list of 24. We'll break down the entire starting grid, let you know where they came from in just a moment. But we'll take one final opportunity to step aside, and when we return, it is a Wednesday night qualifier main event. You're watching Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night. It's the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals, and the main is next.
He has done everything he could have done to try and get himself into the championship picture. But 2018 has not been his year. 2018 has not been Gregor Hutu's year. Despite it being the last chance for, oh my word, have we just seen Matt Backham overtake Martin Kroenke on the final lap of the motor race? We have! Matt Backham takes the victory. Hutu second, Gregor Hutu in second place. What have we just seen? Martin Kroenke in third, and the title will go down to Kota. My word! I do not know what I have just seen. Silverstone a couple of years ago was the craziest finish I've ever seen to a World Championship Series race until today. And I'm just having a look. He doesn't... What did Martin Kroenke even do there, James?
I think he was out. I honestly think he was out. I haven't seen anything like this before. He was struggling to get the power on. I don't think he was out. Maybe he was wanting to give Matt Backham the victory because he was quicker, because he still had the championship. Oh my goodness, Martin. I think we have just seen the defining moment of the season. I have no idea what Kroenke's done. We'll have to ask him for an interview. But Gregor saw an opportunity, sent one down to the inside on the final corner. And I think that Kroenke wanted to give the victory potentially, maybe not second. But this title's alive, Will. And De Jong has been given...
Alfala is $10,500 richer. 2-time NASCAR legend is your 2013 NASCAR iRacing. It's going to be Humpy winning the race, and it's going to be Conti taking away his first NASCAR 2017 NASCAR Beginner Free Series Championship to Ryan Luza. Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Beginner Free iRacing Series.
It is time for the Wednesday night A main as we welcome you back into RaceSpot TV's coverage of the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. AFA's Race Against Cancer qualifying night comes to a culmination right here and right now as we get set to go racing 25 laps to hand out the first little bit of hardware this evening. Happy that you've been with us all night long at the iRacing Esports Network. Myself, Evan Pasoko, Brett Wheeler with you upstairs. Our director downstairs is Hugo Luis. He's twisted and tweaking the dials and bringing us to you. Also, big shout out Randy Cheneth, everybody else in the control tower making all of this happen tonight. But Brett, we have gone through 5 heat races, 2 qualifiers, and 2 B mains, and now is when it is all on the line. Longest race of the night, and by far the biggest field of the night as well.
Yeah, 114 laps it's taken to get this field of 24 cars and 25 laps to find out our first 6 drivers that will lock into the Thrustmaster Championship main event on Saturday night. This should be an absolute belter. Hopefully, and no doubt, we are going to see some 2, might even see some 3 wide action.
And we will have, when we expect to go trackside, drivers have a good bit of time here still to warm up, but we expect that it'll be Brendan Rogers on pole position for this one. That courtesy of course, his finishing earlier on in the nights, having him sent into pool number 1, which again guarantees him a spot on the front row, but also 6 total passing points over the course of the night, which is a very good number for him. So again, the way it works is we will have 24 cars in this. That is your top 6 from qualifier 1, your top 6 from qualifier 2, top 6 from B main 1, and top 6 from B main 2. We've already sent about 2/3 of the cars that started racing earlier this evening home. We'll catch up with them Saturday when action kicks off at 5 o'clock Eastern with the D and the C mains. But just because you've made it to this Wednesday night main event does not mean you are safe, because yes, there is going to be a Wednesday night A main winner in about 20 or so minutes from now. Yes, Brett, the top 6 are going to lock into the Saturday night A main, but that is a very small fraction of the total cars in here. If you finish 7th position through 22nd in this race, you are going to qualify into Saturday's B main. So you have no guarantee of racing for the big prize on Saturday night, but you'll only have to go 1 race to get there. And if you finish either 23rd or 24th in this race, assuming we hit that number, you will be in the C main. So you're just as worse off as the drivers who had an okay finish but didn't make it out of the B main. So just because you've got here, just because your Wednesday's been pretty good over the last 2 hours and 45 minutes or so, does not mean you are in the clear, because you are still going to have to execute when it matters the most, and that's pretty much right now.
Exactly, and as you said, it's the 25 laps that set yourself up for that Saturday night championship night. 27th through the 22nd, I think you said, go through to a B main. Even if you're the 23rd, 24th driver tonight, that puts you in a C main. That's still a lot of racing, a lot of cars that you have to pass. So you want to finish as high up in this B main as you can. Otherwise, you pretty much, you wouldn't say you're doomed, but it's certainly going to make it harder come Saturday championship night.
And that is really going to be the main event of the evening, no pun intended. Obviously, we're going to have more action coming to you on Friday. More qualifying. It'll be the Down Under Graphics qualifying night. Basically, another entire evening of action that you saw here this evening. We will just simply run it again with another group of 40 or so cars on Friday evening. 6 Eastern is the start for that one. But the reason we talk about the importance of Saturday is because that's the race everybody wants to be in. The winner of Saturday's main event, $750 cash to the winner and $800 in hardware, courtesy of our friends at Thrustmaster, who are sponsoring the Thrustmaster Championship Saturday. So that alone is over $1,500 to the winner of Saturday's main event. And even if you get something like a measly P6, $100. So there's everything from second place, $400, third, $250. The payouts go all the way down to the top 10 drivers. 10th place finish in Saturday's main event will give you $50. You thought these drivers were getting aggressive, running up on each other for a B main on a Wednesday night? Ain't seen nothing yet, and that's why you're absolutely not going to want to miss what goes down Saturday.
You know, it's pretty much, you know, come Saturday, if you're not elbows up and you're not on the wheel, if you're not in those, you know, already in that top 12 that have locked in from, you know, the 2 preliminary nights of action, it just makes it so much harder, especially on this such a tight of a racetrack when everybody is all vowing for those certain amount of transfer spots. You know, come those B mains, you know, you want to be inside of that top 6.
And it is not the only exciting action coming up here on the iRacing Esports Network. More action to come in a couple of weeks' time as the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series gets started from the Daytona International Speedway. Season opener for the 2019 campaign comes to you Tuesday, February the 12th at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And in its 10th season, the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series will see several exciting changes to the only officially sanctioned NASCAR Esports Series. For the first time, official teams, both motorsports organizations and professional esports teams, will join the series in its upcoming season. That includes some high-profile teams like Junior Motorsports, Joe Gibbs, the Wood Brothers Racing, to the esports teams of the likes of G2 Esports and Flipside Tactics. That draft, by the way, more content coming for you Friday on the iRacing Esports Network. That's when you'll be able to catch the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series draft this Friday. That'll probably take place before we go racing for our Friday night Down Under Graphics qualifying night. That one gets kicked off at 7 Eastern Time. So the moral of the story, there is no shortage of action. To make sure you subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network. And if you're not watching directly on the feed right now, go to youtube.com/iRacing Esports Network. That is going to be your home for all things sim racing for the 2019 calendar year. And well, yes, you do have events like the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series celebrating 10 years. It is also fun, I think, to get the calendar kicked off a little bit early, Brent, with an event like this here tonight. First ever RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals. Hopefully, an event that we can see continue into the future for many years to come to kind of kickstart our racing calendar.
Yeah, it's you know, the biggest midget race in the world when it comes to having real life. We have over 300 cars. This one we're having we got nearly 100 cars, if not over 100 cars, that are all trying to be that first ever Chili Bowl Midget National winner. There's only one person out of this whole field that is going to be able to say that I've won the first ever RaceSpotTV Chili Bowl Midget Nationals.
And we are going to have to wait quite a while to figure that one out. We'll certainly know who can say they're a feature race winner in a little bit from now, as drivers have vacated the racetrack, and we are almost set to go racing for 25 laps with 24 cars packed out there onto the racetrack. But again, Saturday night is really the night you're going to want to be here. Just a quick look over again, over $2,000 on the line in cash and prizes to those who finish in the top 10 in that one. And this might be a good preview of that. I know that the stakes are going to be different. The drivers are certainly going to have a lot more experience with one another, more laps under their belt by the time we get to that point. But you can only learn, I think, so much, Brett, when you're racing 10 other cars for 10 laps at a time. This Wednesday night A main, due up next, I think our first real good look at what that main event may look like.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much these drivers, get. As soon as they're in there and they get to do those practice laps, it'll be amazing to see how much that track, will really start to slicking out. We didn't really see it slicking out that much in the heat race. In the qualifiers, the B mains, you really started to see it slicking out at around sort of the 10 or 12 lap mark. The more cars obviously you put on it, the quicker the faster it's going to slicken off. We've seen at the start of those B mains, a lot of drivers run on the bottom in those first sort of 5 to 8 laps. Once they started getting that bottom side really slick, you see them move up and up, and they almost getting right out to the wall. So this 25 lap feature with 24 cars, I expect this track to slicking out very, very quickly, and I expect we're going to have a top and a bottom here tonight.
And prelims continue on Friday. Not that there is zero incentive to get the job done. I think the overwhelming incentive is to get a shot at racing for the total of $1,550 in cash and prizes on Saturday. However, if you feel like that might be tough for you to get a top 6, because if you finish 6th or better on Saturday, you're walking away with 100 or plus. But if you win tonight's prelim or Friday's prelim, that's another $100. So $100 on the line tonight. So don't just think in terms of the qualifying, which I think is the grand scheme of things. I think certainly you'd like to take care of the entry fee, get some cash right here, right now, and kind of play with house money for the rest of the week.
Yeah, it's always good when you can earn yourself a little bit extra cash. From the comfort of your own home. Some people don't have the budget to go out and do real life, and this is as close as some people get to to being in a midget and running very, very competitively, because we all know on iRacing.com the best and the best always come out, especially in these big shows. The cream will always rise to the top.
About as close as you can get to the real thing driving these cars at the iRacing service. Service has changed quite a lot over the last couple of years. What was the dynamic track surfaces, then the introduction of dirt racing, dirt oval racing, even the recent introduction somewhat of the dirt off-road with Rallycross, and I think one of the most recent features to make headlines, day-night transitions. Got a good taste of that last weekend in the 24 hours of Daytona here on the iRacing service. We're under a roof tonight here in the barn, so not necessarily a big factor on tonight's action, although if it was day-night transitions, I think the moon would be high above us tonight as a long Wednesday night strikes into what is going to be the main event of this evening. But certainly that is the feature that I expect to see a lot of as we head down the road.
So right now we are seeing a lot of the drivers go out there and fine-tune their setups once again. The track is starting just to be a little bit more slick, so we might not even see the drivers run straight to the bottom in those first 5 laps. We might even just see them get up on the wheel, get up on that cushion, and just rail around this short oval of the Chili Bowl Nationals track. It's just such an awesome track, and once again a big thanks to everyone that has put this on and been a part of everything behind the scenes. It's a hell of an event, and no doubt I'm sure we're going to see a great showing here, not only tonight, but of course Friday and of course Saturday night as well.
Look forward to seeing how all of this plays out. You can see the cars are on the track getting set to go green, and final couple of moments here with the practice session as everybody tries to figure out what line they're going to take around. I feel like by this point you should have a pretty good idea of what line you want to take and what your strategy is going to be. But we've been talking about the small benefits of track position all night long, but certainly going to be critical here as we get set to grid up.
Yeah, it's going to be those guys in the front row that are going to want to take full advantage of this start.
Let's go trackside and introduce you to the RaceSpotTV starting grid. It is your Wednesday night A-Main, 6 spots on the line to the Saturday night final, but also $100 on the line now. Pole position going to go to Brendan Rogers, and Aiden Perdue going to be the outside of the front row. He will start in the number 2 position for this race. It is Britton Knoxberry rolling from the number 3 spot. Cody Gray comes in the number 4 position in the qualifying session. Continuing through Austin O'Neill and Justin Thomas on row number 3. Cole Cabry and Chris Willard in the number 7 and 8 positions. And to run out your top 10, it is Colton Hardy and Nate Moore.
Yeah, Mike Molnar will start alongside Trevor Fentz, Rusty Kruger, Chase Cadbury, Tyler Deschamps, Tyler Laughlin, 16th, Jimmy Molas, David Holloman, Vinny Sansone, Austin Silverman, Colton Davis, Josh Hurley, and Brandon Cretan, your 23 starters.
This car is going to go down and in, and it is finally time to go A-Main racing on a Wednesday night. Green flag in the air, lap 1 of 25 as we get after it.
Out the first corner is A-OK. 3 wide through turn number 3 and 4. This is for about 6 on back. Look at the 96 of Justin Thomas on the outside. He's looking to get by the 11 car of Austin O'Neill, moving his way to position 5. But Austin O'Neill says, not just yet, but Thomas going to continue to work the outside of the racetrack.
A lot of contact, pretty much 2-3 wide all the way throughout this field. Look at that mid-pack. Everybody absolutely on top of each other here as they lean, they beat, they bang, and finally first yellow of the night with problems behind them.
Now the 88 car of Josh Early going to make the total flip count up to 8 now. He just got into the back of the 80 machine of Vinny Sansone going into turn number 3, I believe that was. You see here on the replay, Vinny Sansone just checked up a bit. Unfortunately, Hurley is upside down, caught the back of him, and he's going to be on the virtual tow truck. That's going to end his night early.
It almost guarantees that he will be one of the back 2 drivers. If he finishes in last position, 23rd, would mean that he would actually have to go through the C main on Saturday, race through that. And then if he were to finish high enough, go to the B main, of course, then also have to qualify just to get into the A main. So that's how quickly things can go out of hand here. If you get a good finish, you're automatically into the main show. And if you get a bad finish, you are, well, pretty much a B main non-transfer as far as where you end up on the grid Saturday night. But a quick yellow in this one. Can't say we're shocked. 4 laps into this, the single file restarts, I think it'd be very critical for us getting some space in between one another. And well, all night long we've been saying, yeah, the race for the win is important, but what about the transfer spot? That's certainly the key here again. Top 6 is the objective. But I think that you want the $100, and only the driver who comes home in first can walk away with that one. Brendan Rogers in control of the field. Green flag in the air as we take lap number 4.
You know, once again, I'm going to keep an eye on that 6th and final transfer spot. Justin Thomas went straight upstairs in turn number 1 and 2, so showing his intentions early on running the top side. Everybody else down low. We look at the second place car, the 12 of Cole Cabray. He went up top in 1 and 2, back down low in turns 3 and 4. So maybe trying to diamond and trying to get a good run in that number 12 car, but yellow flag will fly once again. We got a little bit of a car park in turns 3 and 4.
A big mess down in turns 3 and 4, and it was up on the outside of the racetrack where the 04 machine came to a stop. Cody Gray going to be the caution flag for this one. A couple of cars actually involved, but the 04 machine got a little bit out of shape, got some help. It looks like it was Colton Hardy who got into him, and Gray just kind of came to a dead stop there, middle of the racetrack, and got tangled up with what looks like the Nate Moore entry in the 2-2-0. So quick caution off of that one. We went back green at 4. The yellow comes out at lap number 7. It's mid-pack as guys up front try to mind their business, keep it nice and clean for the most part. Trevor Fitz, big mover early on, started in P12. He is already up to P7. You've also got someone like Colton Davis taking advantage of those yellows, having started 21st now in P11.
Yeah, he was the fifth car in B main number 1, so he only sort of just made it into the show. And you know, these cautions, they're helping, you know, guys like Davis. They can make moves quickly. You know, the more cars he'll pass, and well, I mean, he's every chance at making it into you know, these top 6 here tonight. He's certainly got a fast hot rod underneath him.
Single file once more. It only helps earlier, so the first 5 rows, when you get to the middle of the pack, it's going to be stuffed up, and not much that you can do about this one. Is Rogers itching to get going? You see the pace truck dive down and in. How early is the number 20 car going to put the right foot down in 3 and 4 down to the inside? A green flag back in the air. Long way to go. Still in the A-main. He goes way wide though. Opens up the door. Cabry almost snatched it down low, but he holds him off.
Yeah, Cabry once again looking down low into turn number 1 and 2. Oh, contact Justin Thomas into 3 and 4. He's around into the fence. He's okay at the moment. He's still on all 4s. But unfortunately for Justin Thomas, sitting in that transfer spot, contact with another car. and he is around, and he's going to be at the back of the bus.
And it did trigger the caution flag. We've seen a bit of those incidents right there. He drives it in, catches the rear end of that car in front of him, which was the 5th place entry of Austin O'Neill. Actually sends both those cars around. Justin Thomas very fortunate. Look at that opening at the outside wall right there, Brett. He spins up high, maybe 5 feet sooner, and he might catch that small opening and plow into the outside wall. Very fortunate that it was a glancing blow for him. And right there you saw up and over with O'Neill. So the 6th and 5th place cars involved, and O'Neill actually got the worst of it because he couldn't get back going, whereas Thomas did end up on all fours, although I think his car is pretty much trashed, and he will also bring it into the garage.
Yeah, flip count at 9. Right now, as we're getting set to go back to green flag, Brendan Rogers, who has been superior here tonight, especially starting from his heat race. Green flag is out. Now going back underway as Rogers goes back up top, and Colquhoun down low as they make their way for turn number 1 and 2 into 3 and 4. Rogers back down to the bottom side.
You got to feel it might be a fight between these two as the number 27 machine, it looks like middle of the pack here. Colton Davis finds himself with the elbows up and getting a little bit aggressive. Your top two, though, pull it away from a crowded battle. You look at it right now for 3rd, 4th, and on back, where it's Roxbury atop Purdue, who the 37 way on the outside tries to slingshot past, and I think he almost overdrove it, but he's gonna make it work. What a move. Aiden Purdue rockets to P3.
Yeah, Purdue's got that 37 hooked up just as the yellow flag comes out one more time. Trying to have a look and see who that might be. Mike Molnar in car number 56 on the entry. Once again into turn number 3 and 4. In fact, got tagged.
Yeah, not good for the 56 machine on the inside of the racetrack, kind of minding his own business there, and we've seen many cases where it's 2 drivers that go into the corner and it's just a little bit of 2 drivers fighting for one piece of real estate. I think those are team cars. They just get into each other, and it's Molnar getting hit by looks like David Heileman's entry. And that'll be, I think that puts us now double digits on the flip count, but it wasn't even Molnar who went over. It was upside of the racetrack there. Yeah, it's Tyler Laughlin who ended up flipping. He ended up at a wall trying to avoid the incident. He ended up with all 4 tires off the ground, and well, that's how a 2-car incident can spread to 3 or 4. Restart due up halfway home in the A main this evening. 13 laps down, and we'll hold for another time around. Make sure everyone's caught up.
Well, you got to wonder. Now, do we count that as a flip? Because Tyler Laughlin, he got all 4s off the ground, but he come back down on all 4s. I don't think he actually went over, did he? So do we count that as a flip count, or do we stay back at 9?
I feel like we've had enough flips that we don't need to count a partial flip as a flip, so we'll keep it at 9, and we'll see what happens as the green flag will be coming out here shortly, and something tells me that we're not done. So we'll save that double-digit one for a good one.
Yeah, how about we go 9.5? Do we get 9.5?
I'll tell you, he wants to be on the board. We'll give him what he's got. Driver still currently pacing around the racetrack as we hang tight at lap number 14. Pace truck now back out. They were trying to get somebody back around to the lead lap. Right now, 16 total cars are scored on the lead lap. Already a lot of drivers out of this one, though. 23 started it. Hurley, Willard, O'Neill, they're all out. Justin Thomas, Tyler Ducharme. Drivers who are more or less out of this race, either in the garage or you're talking about, 8 laps down, 10 laps down, and no realistic chance of getting back into fighting position for this one. So Brendan Rogers has put 31 laps down onto the racetrack, but only half of them have been under green flying conditions. He's itching to get back going, and he will have his opportunity here with Cole Cabry. Maybe his stiffest competition all over the gearbox in the back of that car is going to want to make this one fun. Pace truck down and in. 11 laps is a lot of time as the 20 takes off.
Yeah, Cabray went with him. That's Cole Cabray, and the 12 went with him. Top 3 straight to the top side. Britton Roxbury, the first car that went to the bottom. Look at Chase Cabry in the 41 as well, trying to get around the outside of Britton Roxbury. The battle is going to be on for second. Purdue right through the middle, looking to get on the inside of Cole Cabry. Cabry going to shut the door going into turn 3.
Watch Purdue on that outside. That's where he made that spectacular move to rocket into P3 just before the caution flag had to come out, and there's going to be another one there. As the race leaders check up slow and in front of the field, it is Colton Hardy. There's our 10th flip, 10.5 now total on the counter, and that is a huge wreck for the driver of the number 10 car. RaceSpotTV replay will show it here. He's all kinds of out of shape, up, over, gets hit by a couple of cars, and not only does he end up into the wall, but he ends up coming back down and gets hit a couple more times. Here's the full look at it, all on his own, up on the outside of the racetrack. It's up against the wall, and it's all going to get out of hand right there, into the fence, once, twice, hit by one car, back down track, 2 cars, 3 cars, probably the biggest wreck of the night, 4 just to finish him off.
Yeah, that's a tough deal there for Colton Hardy. He was doing such a fantastic job as well. He started 9th. He was sort of around that area on that transfer spot, but unfortunately, his night's going to be over as we're getting set to go back to green flag. We've got about 8 to go.
It count's going to be at about 8 laps to go as we take the green flag, and we are back underway from the Chili Bowl Nationals as we continue to move now. Brendan Rogers, quick caution, back at it again. The pace car getting his laps in.
Well, normally if caution laps, we're counting, you'd almost stake a claim for the pace car to lead the most amount of laps. But because we're not doing that, because caution laps are not counting, where Brendan Rogers so far, he's led all laps in his qualifying, led all laps so far in this main event. He's certainly staking a claim on looking to take out the RaceSpotTV Chili Bowl Midget Nationals.
And we will see if there is one more ball left to drop in this race. We have certainly seen a fair amount of attrition. Drivers 5th placed on back right now all started this race outside of the top 12. So that's Chase Cabry from 14th to 5th. Somebody like a Colton Davis, 21st to 7th. A lot of those drivers mid-pack have either been wrecked out or benefited from avoiding the incidents, but the top 4 have been with us all race long. It's Rogers, Cabry, Purdue, and Roxbury back under green flag conditions.
Now Purdue down low in turn 1 and 2. It's going to go back up top in 3 and 4. We keep an eye on the battle for not only the race lead, but what could be a battle for the final transfer spot. 3 cars, 2 of them are going to fight it out for that 5th and 6th spot. Cabry around the outside of 5th with Colton Davis in the 27 on the outside. Looking in, battle for the race lead.
Here comes to the inside. It's Cole v. Cabry trying to challenge Rogers. Don't forget about Aiden Purdue in 3rd. If the top 2 get too focused on one another, and he throws it away. Rogers is into the outside wall. Cabry to the race lead. Purdue to 2nd.
Unbelievable. Just one mistake was all it took for Cole Cabry to get to the race lead. 3 wide, mind you. Britton Roxbury and Chase Cabry. Trevor Fitz as well in there. Here comes Colton Davis on the inside.
All of this is funny for the transfer spot. P6 is in. P7 is not. As Cole Cabry up front now, pulling away from Purdue. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go in the Wednesday night A main. Big incidents behind and a caution flag. Gonna end it. Cole Cabry in front. 1 lap shootout to come. That is not going to be the official. 1 lap to go is the call from the tower.
Trevor Fentz and Colton Davis. Colton Davis with the big move on Fentz. Fentz goes upside down, takes our flip count to 11.5. Look, unfortunately, Fentz is going to be scored back in around the 13th or 14th spot right now. But man, it was on for young and old. Not only the race lead, Aiden Purdue's got a very good chance at picking this one up. Cole Cabry, he needs to get a good start. Otherwise, you might just find that 37 might go to victory lane tonight.
There is still a chance that this race is not over, and for Brendan Rogers, very similar to what we saw in an early heat race in this one, where your pole sitter runs strong, 1 mistake, and that's all it takes, and he'll have a shot at this from 3rd. It's not impossible, but with a 1 lap run to the end, you have to imagine if it is going to be Brendan Rogers walking away with $100 and the win, that it is going to have to come from contact with Cabry and Purdue. Those two have been clean all night long. Does it last to the final lap?
Colton Davis had been given the EOL as well, so I mean, he was in a transfer spot, but here we go, Evan. One to go, bring it home.
Cabry's going to take the green flag. 1 lap to go for Wednesday night. Purdue on the outside. He's going to have to make a big dive in turn 3. Not going to get there in time. And it is Cole Cabry, your Wednesday night feature winner, atop Aiden Purdue. Brennan Rogers third, Britton Roxbury fourth, with the Chase Cabry making the cut in P5, and a final driver who punches his ticket into Saturday night's main event is Jimmy Mullis in P6.
Wow, what an unbelievable finish there. I mean, even from the transfer spot as well. How about Vinny Sansone making his way up to position 7, I believe it was. David Harlan back there. So a lot of drivers making their way forward. But man, what a race. Cole Cabry, he gets the win over Aiden Purdue and Brendan Rogers. But you got to feel for Brendan Rogers, don't you? He leads probably 20 to 21 laps of this race. He makes one mistake, and it's a mistake that cost him a win here tonight. And what could be, potentially cost him a RaceSpot TV Chili Bowl Nationals on championship night.
Could certainly be a lot worse. He'll be in Saturday's main event, but if he doesn't walk away in the money, he's going to look back on this mistake, and that is a $100 mistake. Nothing says that Cabry wouldn't have been able to get to him. Purdue was right there. Listen, those guys were on top of each other, but Brennan Rogers is going to be kicking himself, and hopefully you kind of get that out of your system tonight and give him a little bit of extra determination headed in to Saturday. Rest of the finishers in your top 10 going to be going into the B main Saturdays, so none of these drivers going to be appearing in our second night of qualifying action Friday. We'll catch up with them all Saturday night, but that is Vinny Sansone alongside with David Heileman, Tyler Laughlin, and Rusty Kruger. They are all headed into the B main, including everybody else. So you've got Mike Molnar, Trevor Fitz, Austin Selman, Colton Davis, Cody Gray, also Brandon Cretin, Tyler Ducharme, Justin Thomas, Nate Moore, Colton Hardy, and the final couple of spots to Chris Woolard and Austin O'Neill, all going to Saturday's B main. The only driver that has to deal with a C main on Saturday is going to be Josh Hurley, courtesy of a P23.
Yeah, it's going to make their Saturday night just a little bit harder once again. But hey, I tell you what, hats off to all these drivers. They put on a good show. But like I said, Brendan Rogers, he had it in the bag. It was his race to lose. Aiden Purdue in the 37, he had a heck of a run as well. But man, it was all Cole Cabry here tonight. He capitalised on a mistake when it happened, and he got the victory. He must be thrilled.
When you talk about the third place finish for the driver of the number 20, we are trackside with him now. Pole sitter for the A main, and he ends up with a third place result as we get some post-race reaction tonight from your third place finisher, Brennan Rogers. Brennan, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you congratulations, because I know that a lot of people aren't going to be headed into the A-Main Saturday like you are, courtesy of this top 6 result, but I know you would have wanted more. You had it. You were in a very good position up front, and there was a lot of pressure coming from behind. Just tell us about the last couple of laps there.
I knew Cole got to second. I don't know what lap. It felt like lap 1. I mean, he got there so quick. I knew if anyone was gonna do some good stuff to me there, it was gonna be him. And he's so good, man. He always drives them clean, and he's so, like I said, he's so good. So I tried to run as smooth the laps as I could, and got in that wall in 1 and 2, man. That was it. Gave first and unfortunately second away, but hey, man, couldn't have gone to a better person. He did great. I tried my best. Shout out to iRacing for those mirrors, because I probably would have lost even more spots if I didn't have that thing. So just got to thank my team, Speed Lab, Swindle Speed Lab, and everything they got going on, and all the guys, and you guys for putting this deal together. I had a lot of fun.
What can you take away from tonight, knowing that, and the point that we had made up here before that A-Main started is that it's kind of tough to gauge the competition when you're split up in, 5 different heats, and some of you aren't seeing each other, but you kind of get out there, longer race, full field. What did you learn tonight that you could apply to that starting spot that you've already got secured for Saturday night in the main event to go out there and try to get some real money?
racing these things enough, you kind of know who's what and who can do what, and those Cabri brothers are something else. They're so good. So, I just got to drive it better, plain and simple, man. I made a mistake. I gave it away. Nothing else I could have done. I know Cabri, Cole was better than me on the top, so I knew once that was coming in, I just had to use the heck out of that old mirror I got, and it didn't play in my favor. I made the mistake, and he didn't. So, props to him. And I don't know who ran second. I think that was Aiden. So good job to him. And just like I said, gotta drive it better next time.
We look forward to seeing what you got up your sleeves for Saturday night. We'll let you jet out of here, Bennett. I know it was a long night. Before we do, anybody you want to say hi to?
Yeah, I got my dad and a lot of friends watching at home here, and really the only people I really have to thank are you guys for putting this deal on. I know this is it's a ton of work on everybody's end who has a hand in it. So thank you very much for having me and letting dorks like me do this stuff. This is what we live for. I don't get to race in real life much, so this kind of fills that void for me.
It was certainly a ton of fun to watch you guys out there. Again, we appreciate you letting us borrow some time here. We'll catch you on the weekend, Brandon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Your third place finisher here in the Wednesday night A main, and slide things down the running order here in this one to, I believe, the driver who ends up coming home with the race win in this one. It was the driver of the number 12 car to victory lane, trackside with Brett.
Yeah, down here with Kyle Gray. First of all, Kyle, congratulations on this one, on this win. 7th to 1st. Talk about how you're feeling right now.
Super excited. I really just wanted to lock into the A main, and I didn't know I was going to do that. I even surprised myself.
Talk about how you're able to get to the front. You started 7th inside row number 4, and you were up to the front fairly quick. I think it took you a few laps, and you had to patiently wait for that mistake from Brennan and talk about that race winning move.
Yeah, I knew everyone was gonna be fighting for the bottom, and I rode there for a little bit for like 5 laps, and then the 11 car made a mistake on it, and I split the gap, went up to the top, and then I got lucky with second and third, getting caught up in that caution, so it put me up in the second, and I was riding behind the leader for a little bit, and he made a mistake, and I took it away from him. But super fun race. That was really fun.
What was going through your mind when that caution came out? Just so you guys got the white flag, giving us a one-lap shootout. What was the plan in trying to get a good start on Aiden on that last restart?
Oh, I was throwing a fit at my sim rig. I was like, no, I knew he wasn't going to do anything stupid. He's a really good driver, everyone in the whole field is very good, so I knew he was either gonna, if I missed it, he was gonna try to throw a slider, but I ran the slider line going down in 1, and just held him off for that.
All right, what does it mean to you right now that knowing that you've locked yourself into the Thrustmaster Saturday Championship night and a potential chance at picking up the first ever RaceSpotTV Chili Bowl Midget Nationals?
It means everything, it was hard getting there. I had a rough heat race, made a mistake there. Sorry for the ones that got involved in that part, but yeah, it was tough, and just super thankful to get the W here.
What's it going to take to get the job done? 55 laps. We only seen 25 tonight. We more than double that on Saturday night. What's it going to take to lift that first ever sim driller?
Oh, it's going to take a lot. I know the people behind me are very strong, and they're some have more experience than me, and so just like my brother Chase, he's done a lot in his R Factor days, so I know he's behind me too. So I just got to keep my head cool and hustle through those 55 laps and try to get there.
All right, well, look, before we let you get out of here and celebrate with your team, sponsor shout-outs, who makes it happen for you?
Swindell Speed Lab, you guys for putting it on, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, Kyle Gabry down here from Victory Lane. Evan, back to you.
I think also going to have a chance to talk with your second place finisher. It is a P2 for the driver of the number 37 machine, Aiden Purdue. We're down with him now. Aiden, congratulations. You guys succeed in doing what most drivers weren't able to, and that is to get a top 6 of the game main, punch your ticket. You are racing in the main event Saturday night, but you were awfully close to it. I know the racer in you probably wanted a little bit more. Just talk us through that race.
Yeah, that was definitely awesome. I had set goals in the beginning to just make the feature. I mean, even do good in the heat race, because going into this race, it's going to be tough, and you don't think about it, and you just focus on what you're going to do. And we moved on. We did pretty good there, and we were impressed. So we took it small steps at a time, and what do you know? I mean, I did pretty well. I can't thank everybody, man. It was awesome running second there. Made some mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but yeah, made a couple mistakes and capitalized on them. But yeah, can't thank everyone who's helped get me here, and yeah, it was definitely an awesome experience so far.
One of the highlights, I think, of this race was you working up on the outside of the racetrack. Seemed like most drivers kind of fighting to get on the inside of somebody, oftentimes tonight pushing each other out of the way. You guys finished second, exactly where you started, so you did have to come from behind a little bit. Tell us about trying to make up those spots. It was a pretty good battle. You would have think 3-4 other cars or so there about midway.
Yeah, definitely the track state. It started off pretty good, and like some people said, it was going to slick off pretty fast. And the bottom was there and the top was there, so it was kind of a driver thing. And I personally love the top. That's what I've always loved doing, racing in real life too. It was definitely hooked up there, and yeah, there was a couple cars I thought I was going to be racing for third there, but we all make mistakes and we capitalize, and it's fun. That's what racing's all about. Mistakes, and you learn next time. It's how it all goes. But yeah, these good group of people that we were racing with tonight was definitely a lot of fun.
You get a couple of days off here now. A lot of drivers going to go through the same trials and tribulations that you just did as they also try to qualify in on Friday. But the next thing set in your mind is Saturday. And for some drivers, Saturday is going to be a long night. They're talking about D mains to C mains to B mains. You are in the main event. So is there anything else that you could practice, pick up on in the next couple of days to dial it in for that race?
There might be some things maybe we could tweak, maybe we could make just a little better now that we've watched what other people are going to be doing, running like, and we'll definitely watch tomorrow and make sure, just kind of watch everybody, see how they run compared to what we ran today, and just kind of watch what they do. And I think we could definitely make some adjustments, maybe not, I don't know. It might just be a driver thing, and we'll give it all we got.
We look forward to catching you in the Saturday main event. Before we get you out of here, anybody want to say hi to?
Yeah, I definitely like to thank my SimWorks Performance, everyone who's part of that, Brian, Logan, everybody. They helped put my setup together, and can't thank Bragg McDaniel, my dad, my mom, everyone who's helped get me here today, and yeah, that's definitely awesome.
It is your second place finisher this evening, Aiden. Thanks for giving us some time, and best of luck. Hopefully we'll chat again Saturday.
Thank you.
And a big thanks also to top three finishers for giving us a little bit of time here. Of course, Cole Cabry, your race winner. Aiden Perdue, who comes home in second. Brenna Rogers in third. Also, big shout out rest of the drivers who qualify on in to the main event. That includes Britton Roxbury, Chase Cabry, and Jimmy Mullis, the 6 drivers who are going to be racing in the Saturday main event. And if tonight was any indication of what these drivers have on the line and how bad they want it, when you dangle all of those incentives in front of them Saturday, it is going to be an absolute madhouse, Brett. But before we get to that point, more qualifying coming up on Friday.
Yeah, exactly right. And, we're going to see another 6 from Friday night, lock themselves into the Saturday night part of the main event, where everyone else is going to have to, do either a D, C, and even a B main. So, look, plenty of racing, still to come from the RaceSpot Chili Bowl TV, RaceSpot TV Chili Bowl Midget Nationals. No doubt Friday night, with the Down Under Graphics qualifying night, we are going to see another great show. And then, of course, that will put us in good stead for the Saturday portion as well. So, plenty of racing, plenty of crashes and bashes, plenty of official flip count after night number 1, 11.5.
And we'll see how high that gets into the rest of the week. But that does it for us here on Wednesday night as Ava's Race Against Cancer qualifying night for the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals does draw to a close. Want to thank all of the people who make this possible, of course, all of the people behind the scenes, Randy, Janet, and all the admins for putting on the show. Want to thank all of you for tuning in on behalf of our entire team at RaceSpotTV and the iRace Sports Network. For myself, Evan Pasoko, Brett Wheeler, and our producer, Hugo Louise, want to congratulate Carl Cabry as your race winner in the Wednesday night A main. But we are far from over. Next up, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, it is the Down Under Graphics qualifying night. And this weekend, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern on Saturday, it is the Thrustmaster Championship Saturday. All those races right here live on RaceSpot TV and the iRace Sports Network. We'll see you next time as the RaceSpot Chili Bowl Nationals continue.